The options, go get them.
Go.
Go Leafs.
Heck out of here, my guy.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hey, yo, what's going on, all traders? Hope everybody had a good, solid weekend. And yeah, here we are. It is Monday, and happy Monday. Obi, how was your long weekend?
It was good. It was good. Just a good Easter long weekend. Kind of relaxed. Rest and relaxation. How about you? You went on a trip.
I went on a trip.
Talk to us about your trip, bro.
There was no R&R there whatsoever, yeah. Obi. Definitely a little fatigued, but that's okay. We're here now. We're excited to get this day rolling. We'll definitely talk about what was going on in Spit It Out here, guys. Verne, what's going on, everybody? Woohoo! Says Coolman564. Joe in the house says Demented Don. Okay, Stevenson, my guy. What's up, brother? Jose Perez, Eski, Rainmaker, Oscarito, my guy Gorev, obviously in the chat here as well. Mr. Easy Street, Vivid Distortion. Brown Lightning, not White Lightning. J-Dog, what's up, my friend? Andrew Chow, Ravi Fernandez, my guy Stevenson once again. Daljit Singh, what's going on? Apple G King, what's up, everybody? Couple more here, Obi, Minnesota Trader. Local Yo Call, what's up? Sarah Bredette, so no relations to Kyle Bredette. Bredette is that one, and Dalji one more time. Maria, what's going on, everybody? I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend and filled up their bellies with a bunch of food because I was in Dallas, as Obi just mentioned, and I did have some barbecue.
Let's go.
Harry Black's, for all my Texas folk. And who are familiar with that one, that is where I went to. And yes, I got the meat sweats after eating some of that good food.
I mean, you're not really eating the barbecue or the meat if you're not sweating, right?
No, exactly.
I think that's funny. That reminds me of I think my dad used to tell me that it was his grandfather that used to say, because he used to eat really spicy food. He's like, basically he used to say, if you're not sweating, then are you really eating spicy?
Or is it even good?
That's what it reminds me. Exactly.
So there we go.
It's good, man. It's good. The solid weekend. Yeah, throw it up in the chat. Let us know what you guys did over the weekend. Anything interesting? And yeah, back to the markets. We are on a day like today, and some craziness happening. Here, some more selling. Sellers are still in charge, it would seem. So more of the same that we've been seeing, I guess, over the past few weeks here. Gold at all-time highs. That's interesting.
Which is crazy.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, continuing to climb higher, and digital gold starting to work out a little bit better here, Obi. Full disclosure, I told you guys last week I started to grab some more Bitcoin and NVDA, the NVDA isn't working out too good, but the Bitcoin's working out really well for us here, guys, because I mentioned that we were sitting on the backside of this trend, and you can see now that we're starting to climb a little bit higher and higher, but obviously I had to keep my eyes over it over the weekend, Obi, to see what was going on with it, and I didn't like this consolidation phase. I was worried that we were going to break down, but we're getting that break up and heading into some overhead resistance here, right around that 88,000 to 89,000 mark here, Obi. Let's see if we can break through this. I would love to see Bitcoin continue to climb higher because my other position that I got going on in this swing is not doing too good, guys, and that is NVDA, Obi.
Oh boy, yeah, no, that Nvidia has been again a little bit of a seller there for a little bit, but who knows when these bottoms will be in. But until then, let's try to do our best just to kind of go with the flow here. Watching this again, we talk about some of the morning plans when I come on here, one of my top morning plans was that UNH continuation. I know that I was talking to Dara about this in the morning as well. She was like, "Oh yeah, solid trades there on Friday as it sold off, kind of a gap give and go, can't really hold VWAP, can't really hold pre-market lows, kind of fades in and kind of creates a little bit of a base on top of this 447. And this is what I was watching for. I was watching for either 447, maybe prior day VWAP, that pre-market low, confluence with that prior day end of day VWAP as well, kind of looking at some of those interesting levels. But coming in right off of the open, Joe, oh boy, this thing came in hot and heavy right through that low, 447.09s. This is a 3-minute chart. You can see within the first 3 minutes of the day, cracking through that 447, not even looking back, retesting at the highs at 44660s, holding VWAP pretty well, and look at that beautiful continuation for that UNH trade on the day today. So beautiful trade on Friday. Some of those entries were absolutely amazing from some of the traders that reviewed that trade with us.
Yep.
And yeah, it seems like they were so good that it turns out that those were amazing swing entries as well, as UNH coming in with a little bit of a continuation move on the day today.
Wayner was in that one.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, he did a good
Solid
job
stuff.
on that one there. Yeah, guys, so as for the trading right now, you can see if we pull up my screen, we got IBIT. We didn't get into this trade. I was just relaxing a little bit this morning, being patient. But it's trading really, really well here, guys. And Stevenson, I've seen what you said about the NVDA options chain. We're going to pull that up here momentarily. But I'm going to keep my focus on this. I do believe it's strong. You can see that we're up 4% here, guys, on the session, just a little bit under it. So looking for that continuation in strength, but it does look like the market wants to take another leg to the downside. That is not good because I am long the TQs, but what we got going on is we're holding this base relatively well. I've seen some individuals in the chat mentioning, hey, there is some more calls coming in at a specific strike price on the SPY. So what I did is I just pulled up the Qs chart to see if we had any form of base that could be obviously matched and held here from a support level and open interest on the put side, but I'm not seeing that. So, and the bounce that we're getting in this name, in the overall market, I mean, isn't strong. You can see that the strength is most definitely to the downside. So, but multiple touches here. But are we forming a 1 minute head and shoulder, shoulder one, head, shoulder two? If we crack that neckline, we can most definitely see some more downside because I don't see anything from an open interest standpoint that says, hey, Joe, we're going to hold these levels today. So it almost might be a free fall, but we'll be patient. Hold on to this trade until we crack this support level and that we open up below it and the confirmation says, hey, yeah, you're not going to get that bounce right now. Got to be a little bit more patient. So that's what I got going on here, Obi. We're long some TQs, looking for this 41.81 level to hold here, brother.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of watching this market just bleed, man. There's no real sign of a strong bounce just yet. But 17.9's holding here on the Nasdaq. We coming in from that pre-market downtrend as well. So again, just keeping eyes on. Something else to keep eyes on in this kind of market here, guys, is the VIX. Do not forget the VIX volatility index. Definitely got to be. The thing is, I'm learning more and more as of recent. Like when I first came to the floor, I was like, yeah, VIX is pretty important for intraday trading, but over the past couple of years, picking up on some more, I guess, nuances of how I can shift my trading style relative to the level of the VIX in given markets. So it's like, how do you really want to do that? I've been testing and playing around with different kind of ways to adapt and kind of wrap my head around, maneuvering around high volatility markets, and it's been okay. You know, you got to shift maybe potential stops, maybe size down a little bit as well, make it a little bit wider for stopping out, and kind of trying to look for similar moves as well, but maybe with some more range and volatility. But yeah, it's a work in progress. The VIX currently at 33.81. You can see been kind of a bit of a chop here since about last week. This was last week Monday here, kind of still within that range. We dropped to a low of 28.29s, and since last Monday, the high 35.17 there, after again kind of a strong push that we had all the way up into the 60s. This was pretty wild for the VIX, pushing that 60 mark. But the beautiful thing about volatility, man, is that volatility it has a pretty decent probability of reversion, and reverted it has about 50% off of that 60. Are we done yet? I have no idea, but the fact of the matter is we did kind of revert off of those crazy highs that the VIX saw a couple weeks ago. So still keeping that on watch. Let me know in the chat what you guys are trading. I know there's a lot of eyes on earnings names like Netflix. So I know I was watching Netflix, but it did not do what I was looking for off of the open, so I didn't really participate in it. I was looking for that potential continuation, but coming into the pre-market session, we got that bit of a bleed off. Look at this, shake and bake right off the open, kind of sideways action, hasn't really done much. It false broke the low. Now we're back at VWAP, back trading around $1,000 here. 995 halves is VWAP right now. So those are some of the things that I'm I'm watching on the day today. Nothing too crazy. Gold as well. I'm a little involved in as of right now, seeing if it'll come back in through the day low. Market looking really heavy, so maybe we can ride on some of that tailwind, man. But yeah, gold all-time highs. Looking to see what happens to everyone who's chasing kind of that long.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know what, Obi, just to take a couple steps back, I like what you were referring to just a couple moments ago about the VIX, is that when you see those spikes, it doesn't usually stay elevated like that. So the VIX is a great tool to use for reversion trades. And that's why you can see, this is why we look at the put to call ratios, et cetera, and what the VIX is up to, because you can really get those plays, because volatility will tend to cool down. So when you get those massive spikes in it, and that's when you see traders start buying puts in the VIX when you're high up in the 60s and you're near some key resistance levels, because the volatility doesn't stick in the market for that long. So again, I was looking at some stuff as well too, just to get playing the VIX more and the volatility, especially if you're not comfortable with trading underlying assets, or you're more options based as well too. There's ways that you can take advantage of the VIX, and that's one of them. I like that, Obi. Yeah. He hit that one right on the head there. So perfect example. But yeah, being patient, guys. If we pull up my screen here, we can see that we're starting to compress on the TQs. And like Obi, we're just sitting and waiting. I've been in this trade for about 10 minutes now or so. So patient is really key. And that's what I think we're going to need. If we're going to get any form of pop, Microsoft is absolutely getting taken behind the woodshed today, Obi, and same with Meta. So tech not doing good at all. And Adair mentioned that during Sector Watch. Tech sector is taking it right on the head today as well. And Mike DeRider, I did not try any pie this weekend, my friend. I did not. Hey, we're going to chill on the pie. But again, you know what? I guess it's funny, Obi. So I had the Texas barbecue that one day, which was pretty cool to go and see all the big whatever the cooking machines that they have there, and it was just an absolute packed place. I should have took some more pictures of it, but unfortunately, I was downtown Dallas, and it was Friday, Good Friday, so there wasn't that much open there. And what I had to eat Friday morning was Chick-fil-A. So I didn't really get that full American experience that I was like, and I don't really love the fast food all that much, but it was good. The Mexican barbecue was top notch, and that was fun. And it was nice and warm too, which I really like about the climate. I love the heat, so it was good on that front.
Is it true what they say about Texas? Everything's bigger?
Everything is bigger. Everything is bigger in Texas. Yeah, the portions are insane.
My first Chick-fil-A here, just down, down the road. I think they opened. I don't know if they opened up the location recently, but first time ever was this past year. Yeah, just one.
I think that one opened during like COVID or something along those lines. Yeah. Yeah, the year before COVID. For me, yeah. And then I tried it. My buddy who actually got married in Dallas this weekend, he was the one who's like, Joe, let's go to Chick-fil-A during COVID. And then when we pulled up, there was like a line around the corner. I'm like, is this place really that good? And you know what? It's all right. It's all right. I'm not going to say it's a must or anything. I'm pretty sure the majority of us here have had Chick-fil-A. But okay, not looking good here. Obi, the volume is really starting to pick up on the cues as we break through some of these support levels. Going to wait just a little bit longer than we might have to get out of this trade. You can see that the volume really starting to pick up as we head to the downside. Could this be a liquidity grab? Maybe not. Again, we want to follow the volume. And if the volume is telling us that we're accelerating as we go to the downside, we might need to get out of this trade, but we're going to hold a little bit more patient. If it starts working, we're going to definitely add to the position. Everyone send Joe some pie. I know you guys, I got to try it on the air, so maybe we can
I heard about this whole pie thing. Like, what's up with it? You've never had pie?
I've never had like apple pie, pumpkin pie, or anything.
No types of pie.
Chicken pot pie apparently doesn't count, but I've never eaten a full chicken pot pie. You remember when we had them here at the office?
Yeah.
I liked the crust, but I didn't like too much of everything else. Like that. Yeah, I'm not a sweets guy, and I can't wait to get back into the gym, to be honest with you. It feels like a lifetime since I've been away, and it's only been like Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
4 days.
Sunday, and Monday. And there's no way I'm going tonight because I got to go spend some time with Milo and Selena and just hang out. You know what I mean?
How's Milo doing?
He's doing good, man. He's starting to behave and stuff like that now, which is really good. He's sleeping on his own, which is obviously pretty much all I really care about. The other day he Supermaned off the couch, which wasn't too good. But Selena was kind of freaking out at me, but I'm like, good job, buddy. Yeah.
He's like, what, like yay high?
Not even, dude. He's like this. He's like, yeah, he's just a little thing, right? And just Superman off the couch there the other day. I was laughing. But he was all right. He didn't cry or anything along those lines. But yeah, let's see what we got going on, guys. Come on, TQs. We want this bounce. IBIT seems to be one of the stronger ones. I really like this for definitely a long. Can we get in here off of this pullback, or do we have to be a little bit more patient? You can see that we're starting to establish another base here as well, too, Obi. So maybe this can act as some support here. Right at that 50 target, but you can also see that we're starting to construct some lower highs. So there we go. The volume and the momentum is really starting to pick up. I think this might be a play for a potential long. The tech-heavy Nasdaq, definitely. I like what Sean and Neil were saying earlier. Is if you're looking to go long, you want to go with either gold or digital gold, and that seems to be the case in GLD and IBIT here, Obi.
Yeah, I think that's again we've been watching gold hit some fresh highs over the past year or so. It's been a good solid run, and I'm curious to know what we have in store for the rest of the year. Again, a lot of people moving into I guess less risky assets as money moves potentially towards gold, or that's at least what looks like what it looks like is happening as of right now. But let me know in the chat, what are you guys watching? Is there anything in play for you in this kind of market? I know a lot of people have been looking at bonds as well with again inflation. Oh boy, look at that TLT move, man. That's absolutely wild there. 87.07. So yeah, a bit of a reversion. Oh boy, happening quite nicely here on TLT. So yeah, shout out to anybody who had that trade there, kind of a continuation, had that gap down today as well earlier, kind of breaking through that prior week low as well, and then a nice little continuation in the pre-market. Can't really make it past that 87, and we're getting a flush back down into low day here on TLT. Let's see what's going on with the Dara.
Here is the market bouncing a little bit off of these lows. We still have Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump here at the White House. They're hosting this Easter egg roll event. Only worth noting because journalists are yelling questions at Donald Trump. As of now, I haven't really been able to hear him answer anything. He's walking around with an Easter bunny, so it's not by any means a venue where you'd expect any comment, but worth noting, some questions are being asked. I'll let you guys know if anything's being answered. He's on camera. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Dara. So guys, position board is up. I think Obi, he's just sitting in his trade, right? So until he makes any form of transaction, he told you guys what he's in already, and you guys can see what I'm currently sitting in. But for my guy Stevenson, you know what we're about to do, my friend. As I mentioned it here in the chat, let's talk about hedging, Joseph. We can do that momentarily there, Dan the man, no doubt about it. Let's see what we got going here on NVDA, guys. I mentioned there was about through a couple strike prices, a couple key levels, there's about over 250,000 open contracts or something like that. I know it was like 150K, and then if you add it through 113 to 116, then it worked out to be just under 200,000 or something like that, which is a hefty amount of contracts. But those expired this week. We're now sitting in a new week, and what is the market telling us now, guys? All right, so there is nothing outstandish, right? There's no key levels that I've seen until you get higher in the strikes here, Stevenson. So what we got all the way up until $100, there's only about 11,000 open contracts on this week's expiration cycle. We need to go a couple legs higher here, up to 105, 106, and 107 is where you start to see that OI start to pick up. Is that going to be attainable? Maybe, but there is a lot of overhead resistance. And if people want to talk about max pain during this week, we're going to be probably sitting at, where is it? I seen 70,000, 110. 110 has the most amount of OI there, guys, on this week's expiration cycle with about 80,000 open contracts. All right, so just a little bit under that. So that's a good amount. And to the put side, it's honestly clear. Not really, I guess 95, there's 22,000, 94, we got 10,000. So you can see that we held 95.62 almost to a T. So that coming into play. And then at 90, we have 50,000. So that might be max pain to the downside for this week's expiration cycle there, guys. You can see if we pull up my chart, IBIT relatively strong. I do like that we're continuing to climb. We broke through this downtrend here and then started to move to the top side, volume picking up on the lower time frames. as we moved northeast. So that is a positive sign. Could we touch on some subjects on hedging or similar tactics that using GLD, SQQ, VIX, etc.? Yeah. So what Obi and what I and what multiple people have been talking about is just kind of a rotation into more stable assets. And I'm not going to put Bitcoin in that category just yet, even though price is really starting to compress. But you can see money really starting to funnel into some of the commodities like gold, right? So again, that's just an additional hedge against what's going on in the economy. But now if you want to talk about actual hedging with your positions, right? So if you actually have positions that are going and you have multiple hundreds of shares in whatever asset you have allocated, then you can use options to hedge that, right? And that's what I'm most familiar and most comfortable with. So I can give you ideas and options. I know Brankles was doing this earlier, and some of my other friends here that I met over the weekend is that they all have majors and everything along those lines. They're like, okay, yeah, we're still doing those basic hedges. We're selling calls against our position, even though whatever you collect from a premium standpoint, it will never amount to what capital or the equity appreciation is. But that's just some temporary hedging, especially in the uncertainty that we have currently in this market. So you can use options to hedge your position, and you can use other assets, like you said, like gold, and you can use the VIX as well too. If you believe that volatility is going to cool off. What Obi was referring to is how do you use this from a reversion standpoint, and that's exactly what you can do. You can either start buying some puts in the VIX if you do believe that volatility is heightened, and you can just kind of just rotate into more safer, staple-like assets for a potential hedge, especially if you're tech heavy and you're tech heavy long there, Obi.
Yeah, I think, again, using the tools and the vehicles that are provided to us by the markets to really exercise some of those ideas is very, very important. And yeah, got to be effective with the executions as well, right? That's a big thing. Again, we were kind of reiterate this point. It feels like every time I come on, like execution is kind of key there, and on the ideas that you have. You can have great ideas, but coming up with a good execution set that gives you a good risk to reward and gets you into the trade at the right moments is definitely a little bit of a balancing act that we're all trying to get a little bit better with here. And I'm reading the chat. Not a lot of people are talking about too many tickers. I'm seeing this MLGO here. Now, again, I know that, shout out to Sharif, he definitely would be partaking in something like this on a day like today. And look at that VWAP hold. Definitely opportunity on these tickers, even though I don't necessarily trade them very, very often here. But yeah, it's definitely doing RVol. You can see this is a 5-period relative volume here, 80 times in the pre-market, kind of simmering down as we come into the opening session here. But take a look at this beautiful action as every time we come back into this $9 area and on top of VWAP, you can see the buyers kind of coming in on top of VWAP. Nice pre-market break and hold on top of that 11 as well. So looking interesting here on MLGO. And again, this one's a bit of a repeat offender. Right? It goes crazy every now and then. You got to keep in mind the float that it has, 8.12 I have here. So you got to remember that yeah, some of these tickers can be a little bit I guess maybe manipulated, but cornered. Floats can be cornered. Floats can be kind of price action can be kind of messed with and marketed as well, which is all stuff that we gotta be aware of and watch out for. Again, you can use that stuff to your advantage, right? A lot of people, I know people are like, oh, this stuff is manipulated. Great, you can take advantage of that manipulation.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's like
I think that's the
mean,
goal too, for sure, is just finding a way to take advantage of some of these, I guess, manipulation moves.
If you want to call it that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You want to follow the volume, guys, and that's what I mentioned time and time again, and we've done it live here on the show. When I say, oh, okay, yeah, we're running into resistance, we're doing all these things, and then I'm like, oh, look at this massive volume spike, because I'm always paying attention to the volume by time profile, and then individuals are shorted. I'm necessarily like, I don't know. I want to follow the volume, and especially when I have an outlying volume signature, I want to go in that direction, and that's what we try to tend to do. So you guys seen us do it live multiple times, and I'll call it out, and then we get all excited and giddy and everything along those lines. But this is what we do, right? This is what our job is, to make these calls. Are we going to be right all the time? Absolutely not. That's unfortunately the name of the game. It doesn't work like that. You're not going to be right all the time. But what you can do is find these little nuances within the market and look to take advantage of them, just as Obi said there, guys.
Yeah, for sure. I'm watching this gold here. Gold kind of consolidating here in and around VWAP. So kind of sideways action now. I was looking for that low at A to potentially come in. Not really happening as it kind of consolidates in and around that that VWAP mark, in and around this 314. What is this? 314.80s ish. Short. Okay. Currently, but yeah, it's coming right back in towards day highs. So it should be interesting. Markets pushing trying to push some for some fresh lows as of right now, as we come back below this 17.9 here on the NASDAQ and the ES as well. Look at this. These are 15-minute candles, bro. And look at that. Just straight back-to-back reds here. Absolutely crazy. 52.50 coming in right off of the open, and then all the way back below that 5,200. So a nice little flush there happening on the spider. I was looking at the SPY as well in the morning session here. So let's take a look at what our friend the spider is doing and climbing down that water spout. Some more of the same here. Back towards that 500, man. Again, we got back up above that 500, coming right back in now. I know there's a lot of speculation as to where we're going to go from here and how the rest of the year is going to carry out. But again, I have no idea. I just have to remember that the past couple of years, we've had some euphoric action. We've had some crazy markets, and again, up or down, I think it's safe to say we can expect to see the same. Yeah. More of the same, right? So, again, volatility, it was crazy. 60 VIX, that's like crazy. Event level VIX, so it's
most definitely
some good stuff. Yeah.
How long? So from a timeline standpoint, Obi, how long do you think it will take until we see this market establish a new high, new all-time high? I should say.
Honestly, like I don't know.
You have no idea. I have no idea. To make an estimated guess.
I think if you look at like higher time frame stuff, then you can be like bigger picture, stonks only go up. Yeah. Long term, when we take 20-30% pullbacks, like those are some of the best times to buy in the long run. Yep. And maybe you need to be prepared to buy even lower, even after you've bought at those discounts, right? So it's like that. Again, I'm still learning. I'm on my journey, but not really too concerned with the long term. I guess outlook on the market. And if I trust the stats, which are 8% year over year roughly, or whatever you wanna put that at, I think long run I think we'll be fine. And if we're not, then again
we've got much bigger
more focused a little bit right now on trying to get good at the day trading aspect. Investing swings, again, a little bit of a different game in my opinion. I'm not too involved. I was swinging a lot more when I was trading at home, but as of recent, I just have stuff in my personal that I'm just sitting on and maybe looking for more to buy. Right? I'm like, all right, well, if the market's gonna give me strong discounts like it has been, I'm gonna look for and wait for a strong reason to buy. That 500 hold was nice. I was considering something there, but again, I'm going to wait for this chop to kind of settle down. Market uncertainty is, again, it's pretty high, but I want to see some sort of capitulation. I don't know if that's capitulation. Would you call that capitulation back into 500? The flush into 500?
Yeah, I mean, I think I wouldn't call it complete capitulation, but I mean, at some point we did break down, right? We had some ugly days. From an intraday standpoint, it's hard to argue the fact that we didn't have those days. Again, but we've only been. So let's do a little mark here. So what is it down? About 20%. OB is when you're officially in bear market territory. We didn't last in there for too long, but I just want us to take a couple steps back, see how long. So at the start of 22 was essentially when we went into our previous bear market, and we were under for we were in that for under just a year. Is this scenario different? I think so, maybe, but I could obviously be wrong. One thing that I will note is that like what's going on with this tariffs, and I believe this is the cause of it. Some of us could say that we were overbought, but the market will always find an excuse if it's looking for one to do what it's going to do. All right. So, and sure enough, tariff was the larger catalyst that sent us into this. So, like, if I were to ask myself, we'll go to Adair in a second. If I were to ask myself, how long are we going to be in this bear market? I'm going to go with Obi. I don't necessarily know. We'll find out via news and what's going on with this tariff war. But let's see what Adair's going on to.
Tariff talk coming from Donald Trump at this Easter egg roll event. He was asked by journalists what's happening here with these tariff negotiations. He said the talks are going quite well. The country is seeing more money coming in from tariffs than it's seen in a long time, and saying apparently he's going to be briefed on specifically how these negotiations are going coming up soon. So he doesn't really have any specifics, but his team will be briefing him promptly as to how tariff negotiations are progressing. NASDAQ at day's lows. He just said again the tariffs are going very well. Back to you.
So there we go, right? Like what Adair just reported on, the tariff talks are going really well. Is that going to be something that's going to turn us around on a dime? No, I don't think so. I'm going to get out of this queues because we're continuously bleeding. Don't want to hold this for too long. That base broke out, so we're going to get out and we're going to stick to things that are strong, all right? But just getting back to what I was referring to, I think it's going to take a bunch of like positive news in order for this market to start to turn around, and I don't believe it's going to turn around on a dime. If we go back from a history standpoint, you can see that it's like, okay, we roughly touched this base around this bottom multiple times, and we were in this bear market for just under a year. So for me to say, okay, yeah, Donald Trump's been in office for since November, I believe, of last year, or something like along those lines, to be exact. And again, so we're just kind of getting things started. It's going to take a little bit more time for things to cool off and eventually for the market to turn around. And I think the narrative is what is China and what are the states going to do, and can they come to somewhat of an agreement where we can send equities back higher? Again, we're going to need to wait for a lot of positive news, whether it be from a macro standpoint, CPI, PPI, et cetera, and all those data prints that we're waiting for. But tariff is the underlying, whether it was COVID or something, the market will find something when it wants to correct itself. And this time it's tariff talk, and you can see it here reflected in the market. So now we have to be significantly more patient and wait for things to turn back around. Will they turn back around? I do believe so. As OB likes to say and other traders like to say, stocks only go up. The history has proven that, so it's very, very hard to argue. Is there short-term corrections? Is there bumps and grinds in between going up? Absolutely. Nothing is smooth sailing, and you can absolutely see that here in the market, Joby.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. But yeah, not all stocks only go up, but there's certain ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, the spider is a great example, right? We kind of talk about that. If you kind of look, I always talk about it. If you kind of look to see how it's structured, it always brings in the best performers and it kicks out the worst performers, right? So it's like over time, you have a basket of some of the best, and you can kind of trust the process and be like, all right, the best of the best. Over time, as we've seen, just end up making more and more. They have better revenues. They have more money to spend on, and if they are growing in the right ways, they can turn out to be potential great investments. Again, I was talking to a few of my uncles a couple weeks ago. And they used to work for Microsoft. They used to work for Oracle and Intel, and a lot of them were granted shares a long time ago, and they're sitting real pretty on some of their tech baskets. Tech has been all-time high over the past couple of years. So it's like kudos to that. That kind of swing is absolutely amazing. And it's like, yeah, the question becomes like, when does a participant like that sell?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you're sitting that well, if you've been sitting in like you said, Oracle and some other like strong names, I don't think you. I mean, maybe when you get close to retirement, I don't even know if you would want to realize that from a tax perspective or anything like that, right? Because then you would just have to be paying Uncle Sam, and I don't think most people don't necessarily want to do that. But again, lots of positive comments, mixed feed going on here. I like a couple of these. Comments that people are saying is that corporations can't avoid tariffs. No, you're absolutely right. They can't avoid it, right? Obviously, there's some loopholes, but for the grand scheme of things, I totally agree with you. But what we're looking for is a relief, right? We're not looking for them to be obliterated and to go to absolute zero, because that's not necessarily the case, but if we can find a median term and everybody can kind of, it's like you're not going to win in every category, but if you can come to a conclusion that it kind of works for both sides, then I think that's going to be positive for the market, and that's just not what we're seeing right now. 143% tariffs on China is not positive for the market. It's not positive for Amazon. It's not positive for some of these bigger names like NVIDIA as well too. But we're just looking for somewhat, I wouldn't say a conclusion, just to come to terms and find something that works out for both sides, because I do believe that China and the States are most definitely dependent on each other from an economy standpoint, and it's best in the best interest of the market and both economies for them to come to somewhat of an agreement and a conclusion there, Obi.
Yeah, I think so. At the end of the day, like, you get, I don't know too much about politics, so I'm not really gonna speak on it much. But at the end of the day, you gotta know that there have been kerfuffles over time.
Absolutely.
And some of those times have been some of the best market opportunities, right? Not always, but again, interesting price action here. Again, only focused on these here markets. Oh boy, look at the spider, man. The spider is just straight to the downside. These 15-minute candles are relentless, man. Back to back. All the way down. No sign of stopping here as of right now. Again, you can see gold kind of consolidating here at VWAP, looking distinctly different from the rest of some of these markets here. Again, both futures to the downside when it comes to the spider and the Nasdaq here. Let's take a quick look at some sectors here. So I'm curious to know what the rest of the market is up to. So I'm going to quickly pull up a map here and check out how things are going. And oh boy, as expected, Joe, let me pull this in here. Right here, boom, all the way, pretty much red. Netflix, only the one that's the only one that's really kind of showing up as green, up about 3%. But I think that's just because it gapped up on earnings here, and it's been going pretty much sideways. So that most of that percent is off of the gap up there. We did come back down. We did pretty much a gap fill there on Netflix, but coming right back up into VWAP, still trading sideways. But yeah. Bloodshed.
Looks like the Playboy Cardi album right there. Oh, whole lot of red.
Whole lot of red. Yeah, definitely. Red, my favorite color.
Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah. Thanks for that one, Ramin. That was a good one. No, there you go. Like again, it's not the prettiest stuff, guys. I know I could see a lot of people obviously aren't happy in the chat, and rightfully so, right? This isn't fun. We had a lot of euphoria. I mean, going on this 2-year run here, guys. Let's see, up about 49% roughly from where we were currently sitting at to the peak. So yeah, it is what it is. And again, if you're sitting cash, right? Like, I think this is a great time to be cash, and I'm so, like, I was catching heat in the chat. I'm like, I'm selling this, I'm selling that, I'm selling this, I'm selling that, and I'm sticking into some names that I've been positioned very well in, and still have a lot of unrealized, and I believe that can continue to climb higher even through these times of uncertainty. But this is what you want, right? And that's the thing that's frustrating, is that some of these institutions and hedge funds essentially have unlimited cash, right? So when things are going bad, they'll sell on the way down, and then they'll start to grab things. But if you're just going with that buy and hold strategy, right, your cash is tied up, and then by the time that the market is eventually bottomed, you don't have anything to grab at these better discounted prices, and that's exactly what I did. This is when I first started trading, y'all. Right here, y'all, like I just came, I'm texting now. That's crazy. Yeah, exactly, I'm texting now. This is when I first started trading, all right, like full-time live trading. I started going through the educational processes a little bit before that. So in October of 21 is when I first opened my first SIM account, etc. So I got a bit of the ending of the bull market here. But then this is where I started, Obi. Right at the beginning of January 2022 is when I was full-time sitting in front of my desk. And I had to sit through this. So do I have an immense amount of experience? Absolutely not. On the grand scheme of things, Neil, Sean, those guys have been trading significantly longer than I am. But if I'm looking at this and I just seen that we were in this bear market for just under a year here, I'm like, okay, let me get out, because if it is bad and China and the States cannot come to a conclusion and they end up just spitting more tariffs at each other, then I'm going to be sitting on some cash. And that's exactly what I want to do, because I want to be able to grab some of these names at the lows. I've already made the mistake of letting some of the assets that I was holding go from 110% return to a 20%, 10, 15% return. And that's why I'm like, I can't, just from a management standpoint, allow something that I've had 110% return plus in that now go negative because I'm going with the buy and hold strategy. Me personally, if that's you, that's fine. But from a management standpoint, there was zero chance I was allowing to do that. I've done it before. It didn't work out. So I'm like, just the most important thing about trading, I believe, is learning from your mistakes. And that's what I'm trying to do. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But I was also extremely content with myself when I got out of Tesla. We know what's happening with the brand. The majority of the shareholders didn't like him operating in Doge. That's fine. What's going on with FSD? Some things are lagging. Everybody wants Elon to focus on Tesla once again. So I'm like, there's too much uncertainty around this name. I'm going to get out of it. I had a smaller holdings that decreased from a percentage in return. I'm like, okay, let me get out of this and get into some cash, all right? And then look to buy some other names that are down 30%, 40%, like I did in the likes of Hood and etc. And that's going to continue to be my game plan. I still have a bit of a cushion here in my two holdings in the long term that I got is Google and IBIT. My IBIT positioning, I told you I was buying since it IPO'd, right? The IBIT ETF IPO'd. I was slowly grabbing some since then. And then Google, the same thing. I believe Google is absolutely fantastic with the fact that with YouTube, et cetera, Waymo, they got just so much going on for it. So I'm like, let me hold on to, even though Google has that antitrust going on, let me hold on to these names that I'm positioned well. And some that I'm not so positioned, I'm not the best positioning, and I've let some returns start to dwindle with Tesla taking a 50% haircut. I'm like, let me get out of Dodge and find something else, or be more patient and then get involved in them when they decide to turn around, because I do believe that FSD will add $1 trillion from a market cap standpoint into Tesla. We just need to be patient and wait for it to come out, Obi.
Yeah, I think we're living through some exciting times, man. I think, and the developments that the full self-drive can potentially bring. I think, it's. I don't think we totally understand the full potential of the evolution of transportation that can potentially come through that. You got to remember, elevators used to have operators back in the day. Yeah. Right. So it's like I think Elon said this himself. He kind of wants it to become like that, where it's like, yeah, cars, vehicles currently have operators. You and I drive them, and in the future it'll probably be like, yeah, just kind of pressing a button for the elevator and just taking you from point A to point B there. I think it was somebody in the chat was like, Obi, look at GLD, almost back to high a day there. So yeah, I could definitely have eyes on this one here as it kind of creeps up to the highs. Again, looking distinctly different from the rest of the market as the market kind of comes in to its lows. This one's just consolidating a little sideways, a little bit of up action, a little bit of down action. I was telling Joe, it's like whenever these sellers kind of step into this ticker, into GLD, it's really, really aggressive, and it's a little aggressive both ways. But it just seems like the selling has been a little bit, just slightly more aggressive than some of the buying that's been going on here. But yeah, kind of doing a little bit of a reversion, maybe setting a range for the day as well. Again, I know I'm a little bit counter to the trend here. We have been trending up multiple weeks in a row here on gold, and again, gold being all-time highs. I am taking a little bit of the counter, but again, more than willing to kind of re-engage and get back in here. I think something I could have definitely done better was take some profits a little bit lower there. I didn't really do any of that, which is a little unfortunate. I held it all the way, roughly all the way back here to the day highs there. Tried a couple of times. You can see that off of the open. This one was wild here. Off the open, I get short here when it kind of wicks that 315 mark. Instantly goes right in the money, down to so I short right underneath 315s, instantly goes into the money, down at 314s. I'm like, oh boy, I kind of I kind of choke a little bit because I'm like, oh boy, like this is the flush I was potentially looking for. And should I look for that continuation right away? And I kind of waited and I held that kind of back in, added a little bit more, added one more risk unit here, giving it back up to these highs. When it did come up, I'm like, all right, got a little bit cheeky. I added like 10 pennies away from my exit just to be just for that last little push there. Didn't really work. Stopped out. Tried again once. Stopped out of that one there, prior high, and then tried again another time. Stopped out at that 316, wow. And then some interesting action happening just underneath the 316 quarters got me right back in there and got a little lucky with that one. This aggressive bid came in through that 316, comes in only about a few pennies away from the high a day there, and then pulls all the way down from 316s, bro, 316s, all the way down to 314. What's that low there? 314. 18 day low, currently sitting at 313.95. So yeah, you could guess what I was looking for. I was looking for the price action to get through that low a day. Didn't really quite get there. Kind of missed that aggressive bid that came all the way off of that 314s, but we've come all the way back. So that was a great reason to buy here at that 314s. But again, in the morning, there were some solid reasons to sell as well up here in the 316. So maybe we look for more of that range action to potentially come in as gold maybe consolidates today. Nice little action off of the open there. Both short and long side. I'm looking for that continuation, but maybe that's all she wrote on the day today. As again, technically we are making higher lows on the day on top of this 314 right now, Joe. Again, as the markets kind of bleed out as well. I have Nike on the side here as well, just watching it. Clean downtrend as well. Very, very reflective of that of the market. So nothing too crazy here. SPY is at 511 saying, beloved Danny, yeah, no, I'm watching that as well. Spider definitely in somewhat in play today. Again, when the VIX is above 20, 30, markets are definitely in play. ETFs and futures can definitely be looked at for giving you some outlier opportunities for sure. Yeah.
I agree with you there. See now, Demented Dawn, and this is, I think I like this, what you said here. You first started off by saying, I'm glad that I sold my NVIDIA. I would have lost another 15% if I didn't. And then you go along to say, Joseph, I had 110% profit and had to sell for 50% profit. Well, now ask yourself this question, Dawn. Would you have rather sold at a 50% profit, or would you have rather sold at a 35% profit, right? And then, right, so there you go. You're sitting on 50%. Unfortunately, I don't know how long you've been trading for or anything along those lines. Everybody goes through that, but at the end of the day, collecting profit, and if you have the ability to extract money from the markets, especially in these times, then be somewhat content, all right? I think, again, it is frustrating. I mentioned it before. Like, okay, so I got gold up here on my chart, but I mentioned it before with the return in Tesla going from 110% for me to locking in a measly 10, 15, 20%, whatever it was. Obviously, that's frustrating, especially when you've been sitting in that position for quite some time. But that's the name of the game. You've made money on the trade, and think about all the individuals who's lost money on that trade, right? Because there's going to be somebody on the other side of it who had to sell you that position for potentially a 50% loss, right? So be thankful, especially in this market as it just continues to bleed. It is not a good sign. Google near the lows of day here, guys, and Apple continuing to move lower. So the Mag 7, just dragging the market down with it. But here's gold, Obi, and this is just an unreal run. And this is funny. I was gonna buy some right here at 362, but I decided not to. Believe it or not, right? Because this is a print that I would get into. You see this pullback, you get the gap down, you get that island gap here, and then you have that indecision print at one of these pullback lows. So that was something that I was going to look to buy, but I didn't end up doing it. But how many days in a row can we continuously move kind of in this trajectory before you get that retracement? And so what I did, Obi, is I pulled up the options chain on GLD, and I did not know that there is 0 DTEs on gold.
Boy.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I truly, did you know that there was 0 DTEs?
I did not know that.
Yeah. I didn't know that there was 0 DTEs on GLD. I only knew the SPY and the Q. So I was looking at...
Are we selling options or what?
Are we selling options here?
Selling some calls or what?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I told you I got absolutely rinsed selling some calls the other day in the overall market. So from a writing standpoint, I think that shit might have just sailed for now just because of how the VIX has declined, right? It's reverted. So you're not going to be collecting as much premium. And I just believe there's too much risk, especially right now with Donald in office, because you don't know what's going to happen. If you go to sell some calls and then before they expire, he decides that he's going to truth the fact that, okay, them and China came to a deal, see you later. Unless you have a stop, those calls are just going to absolutely squeeze, and that's exactly what happened to me. I told you guys a couple weeks ago I got gammaed, and it was not fun whatsoever. Dude, I had it too. So first, okay, so let's go through what happened. My first mistake was I didn't reduce my gamma exposure because I was like, okay, let me try to collect this X amount of money, this couple $100 in 2 days. Well, we know that the closer that we get to expiration, the greater that gamma can increase. So that was my first mistake. My first mistake was my stop. My second mistake was my stop order that I didn't place correctly. But then I also was selling calls in an environment where there's individuals in office, and if they tweet something, the market is headline sensitive, and that's exactly what happened. So from a writing standpoint, you need to be really, really cautious. And from my previous experience of what just happened for me, to me, it's like, it's actually just better for me to avoid writing right now because I don't know what is coming next. And everybody knows that here in the markets, the greatest fear is the uncertainty. And that's exactly what we have. We don't know what he's going to say. We don't know what can come out from a macro standpoint either. So it's just best to like say, hey, we're not writing right now, but if you are going to write, and I'm saying if, just go so further dated out where your gamma is not just gonna ruin your day like it did mine. And you guys witnessed it live. You guys were right here when that happened to me. So yeah, again, what do we take from that? It's a learning experience. Reduce gamma exposure, especially in headline-sensitive markets, and then go further dated out because that's going to reduce your gamma exposure. And I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, I think again, you know a lot more about that stuff than I do, but I do understand what it is like to be squeezed, and it's not fun.
Dude, it wasn't fun at all,
not
man.
fun at all.
Like I collected 40 cents a contract or something like that, and then my stop filled me at $3.11 per contract. That is so horrible. Yeah, damn is right. It sucked, man.
Yeah, you weren't using an Edge A stop?
Yeah, I know. Imagine, that's crazy. Yeah, I know. KK, I almost cried. Yeah, I almost cried. No, I didn't know AJ stopped there, brother.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm curious. What are some of those options? Are there different gateways for?
I personally have no idea. I don't know if you can use a specific gateway there. That's a great question. Maybe we'll take a look into that.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe are there? I don't have no idea how.
Yeah. Maybe someone who's familiar with that. Oh, I guess. So yeah, okay. If you have like a direct access platform and you have like the options they have similar level 2s, right? Yeah. And but you're still using the tape on like a regular tape, but they have their own time and sales and everything along those lines. So you might have the ability to select your gateway and everything along those lines. But that's a great question. I actually don't know. And if you do know, guys, can you use different gateways for options? Please put that in the chat. That's a fantastic question. Oh yeah, but we're gonna go off to Adair here, guys.
Probably nothing huge, but keep an eye on RDDT here. I am seeing, that would be Reddit. I'm seeing some circulation here. Apparently there's some problems with the use of Reddit, reported by about 45,000 users in the US. So RDTT apparently down, or at least partially. Keep an eye on this stock. Sometimes these things can move markets. So it's worth something to be aware of here, guys. Back to you.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Yeah, no, again, we were talking about how this market's going crazy, the VIX is high. Speaking of Reddit, that reminds me of a potential push in meme names, right? So again, Reddit kind of part of that crew as well. I'm curious to know what GameStop is doing, but again, the game has not stopped for sellers on this market. Let's take a quick look at GME here, what that is up to as well. Yeah, a little bit of sideways chop, nothing crazy, no relative volume to say the least. But yeah, strong spikes in the volume though, so it seems like definitely some orders being thrown around on this ticker. Let's take a quick a run through what some of the volume leaders on the day, and let's see what's up and what's happening. It's about that time. What is it? It's around, yeah, it's almost 12 o'clock. So around noon time. Let's take a quick look at what's been happening here. So Nvidia to the side. Wow, who is this? Whose tickers is this? UPXI to the upside. Health and tech. All right, cool. What do these guys do? Engages in the development and manufacturing and distribution of consumer products. Okay, cool. That's platforms like Amazon. All right, so nothing too crazy here. Is it doing volume? Yeah, 7.78 million volume, but 1 million share float. And yeah, it seems like it's trying to take a crack at that 20 again here on that one. So I don't know, not really my cup of tea, but I guess being the second highest volume leader on the day may be worth keeping an eye on if that is part of your playbook. Palantir. Oh boy, that strong run up off of the open. That was wild there. That looks distinctly different from anything else in the market here as Palantir runs up. I don't know if this one really had a catalyst. I don't think so. Doing half times Arvo in the pre-market, not really catalyst numbers there with that. Tesla here as well to the downside. What is this? SHFS, so some sort of holdings financial conglomerates. Don't really know about this one, but it seems like more small cap stuff here. Micro Algo. We saw that one a little bit earlier. Lucid's always on here. Hertz, that was an interesting one last week, as it got a little bit of a bid from I think it got the Burry bid, I think, last week into the Ackman bid. I was like, yeah, it was one of those guys there. Funny enough, I went I asked GPT. I was like, okay, when was the last time in the past 2 years Ackman has made a publicly announced position like this? What happened on day one, and then what happened on day two of the ticker? And it gave me kind of a list of a few different tickers of the move. And I saw that the more often than not, there was a little bit of continuation coming in on the next day. So far on Hertz, no real continuation. Sure, we caught a bit of a bid on day one of the news, even though the news came out going into the end of the day here, about 20 minutes before the close on Hertz last Wednesday, and you can see that just consolidated pretty much there on Thursday as well. Again, Friday holiday, Monday coming back in, still within that consolidative range. So my question is, can Hertz break through this $9 level in the near future for that potential push, for that potential continuation? Let's see if some of that sentiment holds. Making higher highs, sure, but also higher lows, sure, but also lower highs. So a bit of consolidative action. So nothing too crazy here as of right now. But let's see if it does break out of some of those prior day high and reaction high levels at $9. Oh boy, yeah, man. This gold tape, just GLD tape, is absolutely crazy. Like, I don't know how much information I'm really getting from staring this down this hard, but there have been places. There have been places where price action has been pretty distinct throughout the day, and a couple of those places I feel like I missed a little bit there. That 314.19, was it 314.18 bottom as well down here? That was real nice. I kind of came back to the desk in and around here when it was back into VWAP, but consolidating above VWAP, maybe potentially poised for a sideways action here. If it does come back up, I'm more than willing to get out, get back in. That's more than fine here on the day. But let me know what you guys are looking at. What trades are you involved with? Are you guys in any swings? I know a lot of speculative swings in this market. I was talking to a few friends here over the past couple of weeks as well. So everyone's putting in their 2 dimes here on this market, and a little bit different. Some people say these are the bottoms. Some people say we're going to sell off even more. I say I don't really care. But again, the biggest thing I care about is am I effectively making good decisions in the market environment that I'm in, and that's something I'm trying to get a little bit better at. It's still a lot of ways to go, but a work in progress nonetheless, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're a fantastic trader, to be honest with you, Obi, and continued like he says, he doesn't really care just what price action is telling him. So that's just I think that's just such a great way to look at it. And I see it in the chat, even myself. I can't really argue the fact that it's like, yeah, this market's frustrating. It's not the best, but it's just easier if you just accept the fact that the market is just, right? So again, it's going to do what it wants to do, and it's our job to be able to find where to modify. So this is going to kind of transition into what Butter Biscuit and I were just talking about, right? And so he's like, yeah, Joe, I think you have. Thanks, Tony. Much appreciated, brother. That means a lot, eh? Tony says you're a real one, and he says, yeah, I think you're just a true, honest individual, and then you said the likes of me. So just much appreciated with that. We're going to get more into what Butter Biscuit and I were talking about momentarily. We're going to go to Adara, and then it's with Neil's lesson of the day.
Quite the tumble here for the NASDAQ. That's putting it lightly, down about 3% for the QQQ. Basically at day's lows, S&P 500 looking pretty similar. But you may notice that both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 making a distinctly higher low on the 15-minute chart. This most recent 15-minute candle, pretty small chart. But maybe we're poised for a bounce. We're going to have to wait and see. The IWM was also really weak. It's looking identical, to the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 right now. We do have a lot of different things that are being attributed to this push to the downside. Of course, ongoing tariff and economic uncertainty. But yesterday, we had a lot of criticisms here of Fed Chair Jerome Powell, on Thursday, from President Donald Trump, saying that he actually would be looking to terminate him. So if this does happen, people are saying this could lead to a lot of market instability. So that's why we have a little bit of this push to the downside, a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear with regards to that scenario. Also, of course, NVIDIA pretty weak here, UNH pretty weak. Netflix trying to bounce right now here, NFLX. This one was really strong initially on earnings day one, but giving back some of that move, struggling to stay above that $1,000 level. RDDT on watch, this company actually confirming they were investigating some service issues after we were seeing reports of this going on X. So RDDT, potentially a bit of a mover here, trying to bounce a little bit here. A lot of these weaker NASDAQ names trying to bounce. Microsoft, Meta, NASDAQ itself, Apple. So keep an eye on some potential, bounce plays as we head into the rest of this afternoon. But before we send you back to the guys, we have to wait and see what Neil says with his lesson of the day. So take it away, Neil.
Go Leafs go. That's the lesson of the day. Joe knows what's up. No, the lesson of the day is if you're a support and resistance trader or you see accumulation, you like that. A lot of times you see sideways action and you think, oh, this is a good place to buy a stock. Why? Because as the boys have been mentioning over on the midday, in the general sense, stocks go up. The problem is in a downward trending market, that accumulation oftentimes has signaled the other thing. So like one of my favorite lines from The Wire, you want it to be one way? You want it to be one way, but it's the other way. And so when we see accumulation, we're finding the opposite here. Like we're looking at short entry points. We're looking at trap longs instead of breakouts. And that's just the environment we're in. So you just got to be able to flip it up on your head. Now, ultimately, I'll show you the difference between where I think a guy had a plan and we should have held on to Tesla. When I start thinking about this is where I want the short, this is where I get it, this is where the plan of action is. If it tries to bounce off here, I'm getting out in front of 227. So we do. But why would I have thought that maybe this wasn't a continuation? Well, we had our idea and we never got to our accumulation. But if you can find the stocks that fail at an accumulation point, it might give you that extra, I'm just talking for myself here, doesn't have to be for everybody, you can find that extra oomph to just hold on to and really like the short that much better. I'm gonna give you an example of one that hurts because I own shares of SoFi today. But when you see sideways action in a downward trending market like this accumulation, our brains usually tell us, oh yeah, let's go, we're breaking out, we're retesting highs. But in this market, it's all about when you find sellers, and I don't have to draw a line. You guys can all see it at $11. All last week, accumulation between $10.50 and $11 with tops at 11. Well, what happens when you fail 11? If you do a failed breakout, that's where you expect a lot of people to be caught offside. And you're thinking a bigger move to the downside on something like SoFi. So that's what it's all about. What happened?
Apparently,
Yeah, I think Neil's having some mic issues here. So
that's all right. We'll take care of that one there, guys. So yeah, OpenAI, we're just talking. Derek came over to us and Yeah, for sure. Adara came over to us and said, hey, guys, like, Netflix can't get over 1,000. So what do? I go over and I say, Obi, look at this. And I didn't even have to really say anything. I said, okay, we pull up the options chain and we take a look at that $1,000 strike price. And what do we see relative to all the other open interests and all the other strike prices? We see the highest level of OI right at that 1,000. And you can see now that it's acting as overhead resistance. It's not breaking through. There isn't a large enough participant to grab through that liquidity, to absorb that liquidity in us to move higher. So there's too much demand there, not enough like, I guess there's too much demand, not enough demand there, sorry, I should say, and too much liquidity. So there you go. This is why we look at the options chain for those support and resistance levels. So you can see, like I just said, not enough demand north of 1,000 for us to break through that specific level. And Netflix had a great earnings report. I know the CEO said they're looking for our ad revenue to double in 2025, which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, a good look there in Netflix. It's one of the stronger tech names. No questioning that one there, Obi. So yeah, how's the GOD? Okay, you're getting that breakdown. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I mean, no new high, right?
Yeah, but like I'm kind of I don't know. I feel like I feel a little torn. I'm like, the trade was already kind of there. The trade that I was looking for already happened. That push down below VWAP. Right. The reversion to VWAP already kind of came in. Both longs have won, shorts have won as well. So the question I'm asking myself is, what the hell am I doing still kind of hanging out at the party, right? It's like, all right, well, is there something more that I'm looking for? And am I looking for it on the right time frame, right? That's another thing that I'm asking myself as well. It's like sometimes I find myself looking for trades on an intraday scale where it's like maybe that's not necessarily an intraday idea. It's more of a higher time frame idea as well. But more on that after we get back from Neil's lesson.
All right, we'll try this again. Hopefully the mic sounds a little bit better. Apologies to anybody whose ears got blown up there or whatever was happening. I'm not even sure. I don't know how much of what I got through that you guys were able to pay attention to, but the gist of it was, if you find not resistance, just sideways action in this market, and you're looking for a continuation of trend to the downside, that trap of the breakout is what gets you that extra oomph to think, okay, now you're going to get a bigger move, expect a bigger or a day-long type of hold, because you've trapped longs into thinking a stock is relatively strong. And I got the idea for this, A, because people were showing me SoFi, B, because I didn't hold on to Tesla long enough, and then C, because that chart of Palantir got thrown up by Obi just there recently. Well, it had a bit of a barcode on Friday, like an inside day by all measures. Fail that breakout, and then look at the strong trend. There's not even, like, now you're getting the first green candle on Palantir on this 15-minute. Why? Because it failed the break of that barcoding high. And in a down market, man, when everyone's searching for that thing that's relatively strong or that is going to give that breakout, and there might not be a lot of them, that's where you can find yourself getting absolutely rinsed. In a certain sense, like, Intel did somewhat of the same thing. Like, there's your inside day resistance, it tries to break it, and then you're just headed downside. It wasn't as weak as NVIDIA, but once you fail that initial push up where things feel a little bit bullish for a second, that's just all kinds of danger for those out there that are just always looking for that long opportunity. And these consolidations make it super, super dangerous. That's why I don't mind being late to IBIT. Because ultimately, like, you look at IBIT up here, it's like, oh, I had it early and was willing to give it up because I didn't want to get caught in any false breaks on that pullback. But if it's going to be strong, like, if something is going to break out and continue all day, you don't have to be in it at the open. Like, you can find the consolidation higher, like here on IBIT off to 50 into like 50-40, where you're just holding the top end of that range. In a down market, be willing to jump in on any quality short setup, fail the break, any resistance level, all that kind of stuff. But if you're looking for that long, it can be okay not to be overly involved with getting rinse on that early move to see if there's going to be continuation. Because when our trend is loosely to the downside, you just want to be thinking about long traps for short setups. And those consolidative levels, those barcoded levels, like we're talking about on SoFi, they are super dangerous because all anyone sees is resistance at 11. What happens if it breaks 11? How many times have you seen us, let's go long when this breaks the even dollar? And when it has a resistance for the entire week at that even dollar, that's just more people that want to break long. So when it fails, you get these big continuations to the downside. You saw it with SoFi here, you saw it with Palantir on its reversal. And those are setups that you just want to be in tune with when you are in a bear market, everybody. And that's just how it is. So there's your lesson of the day. Hopefully SoFi doesn't bleed too far. And Bitcoin, going to retest that high, everyone. Bitcoin is strong, like a bull. Get in there, Joe.
Thank you, Neil, for that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Neil. And yeah, let's go Bitcoin, and let's go, most importantly, nothing else matters except for the Toronto Maple Leafs at least getting to the Eastern Conference Final. So yeah, that is what we are hoping for there, guys. Yeah, go team, go. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, here we go, guys. I've seen some people in the chat talking about Amazon here. We're starting to bounce. Maybe we can see that we're forming this higher low as well. So that's a positive sign. But you can see we have some key resistance levels. And I like that what Neil was mentioning is that we are in a bear market, guys. So just be prepared for certain things. Like, look at this meta. This meta chart is absolutely insane. I can't believe this. Now that they got the antitrust going on, I just don't understand why now? I just don't think it's the time. But anyways, here we go. Look at this, guys. Now cracking through some of those, down 35%. 35% from the peak there, Obi. So that 16-day green streak met by a 35% decline in the underlying asset. That is not a good look for Mr. Zuckerberg and company. Will they come out on top? I do believe so. Will they end up paying a fine? Most likely, and it's going to be a hefty one at that, I think.
Yeah, and whenever I look at those higher time frame charts, man, it kind of reminds me of just using simple trend lines. Yeah. Look at the break of that trend line. If you pull it up here, let's do this on the spider.
Yeah, do it on the spider. And I did exactly that with grabbing more IBIT. I made a mistake here in NVDA, which really sucks. And I'm quite heavy, but yeah, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I just you can finish your point there, but I do definitely want to look at that because I keep getting reminded of this over and over again. Whenever I'm looking at like my daily trades, I'm like, dude, look at what's happening. Look at what broke down. We broke down a multi-year trend. Does it make sense we pull back like 20, 30%? It's well within range. Absolutely. You can keep it simple and kind of just look for that break of trend and then wait for that price action to confirm, right? You don't know if that trend break's going to bring in selling. You have no idea. But if it is, and it's showing you and it's giving you confluencing factors for sellers kind of being in control, and market uncertainty, which is a distinctly different theme than we've had for the past couple of years, right? So it's like just simply right here. You can look at some of these. Look at that 2023. This is October. That low right there. Yeah, all my lines are going to show up, but that's fine. And then is that August? Yeah, that's the August low there as well. I think that's definitely a great place to put a point to put a trend line off of. And yeah, you can get specific with whatever. But look at this. Yeah, we're accelerated off of it when we pull back. This is heavy. The breakdown right here at 580s on the spider. Yep. Some of these anchors from those highs, the false break of that 600, right? And a nice little pullback here. This is October 2023 here as of right now. But yeah, a little bit of a trend break continuation follow through happening as sellers step down. Again, the market regime is definitely distinctly different than it has been over the past couple of years. And more, I'm learning that I have to keep that more in perspective, especially for the day trade. And yeah, for sure for the swing trade as well. We'll continue right after we get back from Madero.
Excuse you guys, we're talking about Amazon. I want to address one story I'm just seeing circulate on X right now, though it's not breaking news. There's a couple different analysts, including TD Cowen and Wells Fargo, have been flagging some potential issues here with Amazon's data center leasing. To be more specific, suggesting that they're actually going to be doing less of these data center leases than initially indicated. Apparently, they've actually paused some of their co-locational leasing deals, mostly on the international side. TD Cowen cited this attributed this to some potential demand cooling in the hyperscaler side of things, especially with regards to Europe. But really, it just seems similar to what happened with Microsoft, where we did see at least reports of a little bit of a decrease in data center spending. So AMZN could be another potential victim of that. I just saw this note circulating on X. So I thought, given the talk about Amazon, it'd be worth mentioning. Amazon also got a downgrade from D.A. Davidson this morning. You can read more about that one on our Trader TV Live watch list. Back to you.
For that, Adara. Wow, Gorev, I was just going to message you in the chat. Look at that signal there. Wow. And you know what I was looking at, and it's unfortunate. I don't know why I didn't take this trade, which is, but it is what it is. But just take a look at this right here. Like, this is everything that you need for a potential bottoming signal. This is when we refer, like how when you want to categorize your trade setups, this is when you start to get into that B++, that A+ kind of area, right? So you can see that we have, I don't even really need to point it out to you guys because you know exactly what I'm going to probably refer to because I talk about it every day, essentially. But look at that isolated volume print and then look at the candle printed following that. That is literally what you want to find. Like, and the more that I look at it, it's just like, okay, Joe, you got to take that trade, regardless if you're going to be right or wrong. But this is starting to fall into the realm of like that higher level of conviction and something that you need to start really small. And if it starts to work for you, you can most definitely try to size in exponentially because this is like the epitome of a bottoming signal right here, guys. All right, so that is stopping volume at its fullest with that print, and then you can see that we can continue to climb higher. So yeah, great stuff there. Any thoughts on TSL? No longs for Tesla today, to be honest with you. TSLS, right? I just don't see it right now. Yeah, so there you go. Could you, maybe, like, again, I just would prefer not to be trading this name. You can see that we get this gap down here. That it's the same as Tesla. We'll actually pull up the underlying itself instead of this 2X and to see what we got going on. So you can see that we have that gap down here, right? And then we're putting in somewhat of a base. So that is not necessarily a long strategy. I just don't think the market is going to get that extended bounce that we're looking for. So yeah, Tesla's not a name that I would personally be looking to trade, and I don't want to lead you in the right or wrong in the wrong direction. Sorry, I don't. Again, you have to make decisions for yourself, but just understand the TA that we go through. Now, I skipped through this because we were going to Neil's lesson of the day and with Adara, but I want to get into what Butter Biscuit Head and I were talking about, and he said, Joe, I think you have a great strategy with selling options and just constructing that consistent income. And you're right. You're absolutely right. It's worked really, really well for me. But the thing is, though, what works today may not work tomorrow. And I think that's in the case. Obi mentioned this earlier, is that the environment isn't the same necessarily when it was working before, right? It's a drastically different environment. And with that, you need to adapt. Does that mean totally abandoning a trade thesis or a system? No, but you most definitely have to modify it. And I think, in my opinion, when it comes to the extent of writing options, you definitely need to modify it and be significantly more selective. Because you said, yeah, you got caught in that black swan event. I agree with you on that front. But the thing is, though, we're in a market environment where we are extremely headline sensitive. And are we going to get that? Like, it was the second best day that the NASDAQ ever put in, and I'm short the market. Right? Is that going to happen again? No, because it hasn't happened for necessarily a long time, and it very rarely happens. But it's not about the extent of the move. It's just the increases in volatility, most definitely when you are writing, is what makes it extremely dangerous. And so that's why it's not that I haven't abandoned the trade, because I will always use it, but not necessarily in these market environments, because I don't want to get squeezed like that again. And there's too much uncertainty. Normal special, let's go BTC. I see you wanted to break down. That's fair enough with you. We're long this name, but let's see what Adara's up to, guys.
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Avanex. Sorry, back to you.
Yeah, no worries. So Yeah, what is there anything that that you're currently looking at? I know you have IBIT on watch as well.
Yeah.
I'm watching Bitcoin a little bit as well to see how it moves around with gold. Sometimes I'm feeling that sometimes there's sympathy, sometimes there's a disconnect. I'm not really.
Sorry, repeat that. Sorry, what?
Gold and Bitcoin.
Gold and Bitcoin.
Have you ever kind of looked at both of
The
those?
correlation of them?
Yeah.
I don't know
I
how.
have no idea.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much of a correlation there, Obi. But maybe we can start to see, like, we're starting to see some money funnel into Bitcoin as well too, just from that store value standpoint. But as from like a correlation, like you can see where gold's sitting at, and you can see where Bitcoin's sitting at, right? But there might be some things. We'll definitely talk about that more when we get back from Madeira.
This part of the show is brought to you by Avanex. Are you tired of staring at charts all day? What if a robot could trade for you? Meet Forex VIM. Forex VIM is an AI-powered trading bot that scans markets 24/7, executes trades automatically, and even manages risk for you. No emotions, no guesswork. Just precise trading on autopilot. It works on MT4, specializes in gold trading, XAU USD, and it comes with an easy setup and customer support. So if you want stress-free trading, try Forex VIM today. Visit forexvim.com or click the link in the description box.
All right, thank you very much
for that. Yeah, DEFCON 1. Yeah, well, that's what I had, right? That's what I had, right? I don't ever sell naked. I'll never, I don't want to
unless you're trading from home.
Yeah, unless you're trading. No, I'll never sell naked options. That's exactly what I had. I had a bear call spread, but my intentions were to condor the market, right? So I was looking for, the VIX was it was sitting around like 30. It was extremely elevated. So what I wanted to do was be able to maximize the premium collection. And then have a sideways or slightly declining market. I had an order out for a bull put and a bear call, DEFCON 1, but only, I filled them, I put separate orders out on them, but then only the bear call got filled at the premium that I was looking to collect, and then sure enough, that's what happened. But yeah, I'll always spread it. I've never sold a naked contract in my life, and I don't intend to anytime soon. I just don't think, unless you have an extreme amount of capital, I don't think it's a good idea. So yeah. No problem, of course. So that's it. And just to go back to what Butter Biscuit had, him and I were talking about, or the individual and I were talking about, is that it's not don't totally abandon something that's worked previously before. It's just that the market has cyclical effects, and sometimes what works, and I mentioned this, what works today or works this month may not work exactly the same thing next month. Come on, Movie and Millionaire. Let's keep it PG. But yeah, that's all.
I see the chat's kind of going off there.
What's a naked naked contract? So when you short that, there's just no protection, right? Like you have nothing to protect your downside or your top side. Yeah, exactly. So that's just what we're referring to as selling naked, is that when you short on like a call, you essentially have a potential of an unlimited loss because a stock can go to infinity, right? Opposed to the opposite. So that's just what we're referring to selling naked means.
Yeah, I remember that last time we were at the Money Show, we saw that guy who was using the wheel strat to sell naked, and that's where I started kind of wrapping my head around like a good time to maybe sell naked calls is if you're already interested in buying the stock.
That was put. That was puts. Yeah. So that's definitely. So the thing is with that, you have there's a downside cap, right? Because an underlying can only go to 0, opposed to the other side where it can go to essentially infinity. But yeah, essentially what he does is with that wheel strategy, even if it goes south of that strike price, he will get filled at that price too. Right? So that's why he was selling. So you're selling puts at a specific strike, regardless if it goes north or south of it, he's going to get it at that price that he was looking for. For. So it definitely works. It's definitely they call it the triple income strategy. It's a fantastic one if you definitely have the capital.
Yeah, no, I think that's again that got me thinking about a few different things after we attended that seminar, just in terms of like how other players potentially play the game and how things can be affected by that kind of participation there. Gold still trading in and around VWAP, man. Nothing crazy happening here. But I'm asking, where is the party at? Sean, where's the party at? I don't know what ticker. I don't know. But Nike, beautiful reversion here. We were watching that one, and that one's just doing it back to VWAP right here, 54.20. So that was nice, almost a point above that turn there. I guess, well, just shy of that there. But yeah, nice little reversion to VWAP here. Market maybe potentially looking for a bounce. We did get that first green candle of the 15-minute on that prior bar on the ES here. Let's see if we get that continuation. Or do we just kind of, that's a little bit of consolidation, and sellers kind of step right back in. Again, aggressive selling since the opening session. You can see these volume bars here, straight reds to the downside, pretty much equally sized candles as well. So no real price acceleration or slowdown just yet. But again, we got that first red candle. So, sorry, first green candle. So we are slowing down a little bit. We have slowed down in the past 15-minute candle. I'm looking for continuation. I'm looking for follow through. If there isn't, then again, where's the next trade, Joe?
Absolutely. The next trade, Obi, is at Trade the Pool. Hey. Guys, Robinhood changed the game by cutting commissions. It made trading more accessible. But now, Trade the Pool is leading the next revolution, limited risk trading. Your risk is capped at a one-time evaluation fee starting at just $47. I'm sure you can add much more. You can choose how much capital you want to manage, from $5K to $200K of the company's capital. That means there's no margin calls, no account blow up, and no stress because it's someone else's capital. This is a limited risk revolution. Be part of tradethepool.com and scan the QR code and save 10%, guys. Yeah, go check it out. Try out Trade the Pool. If you're new, I think it's a fantastic way to kind of get started. Obi and I would most definitely agree. It doesn't matter at what point. The majority of traders will end up paying a tuition, as we would like to refer to. There's no better way to just kind of keep your risk limited and trying out Trade the Pool. And then if you have to take it multiple times and then you pass, then sure enough, there you go. You're going to be a funded trader and you can have up to $250,000 in buying power, which is fantastic.
Yeah, no, I think pretty solid deal. I think it's also important to kind of practice strategies in the demo before you throw down and put up capital, or maybe you've been getting clocked more often than you'd like. Then going back to the drawing board, going back to the demo, definitely good as well. And I think they offer all those kind of services alongside as well. But yeah, market coming in to a little bit of a slowdown like we were talking about here, and I'm still continuing to watch gold. Again, why might you ask? Again, we were talking about, why are people trading Tesla, this, that, and the other. To be honest, Tesla was on my watch earlier, but this consolidation, I think you're 100% right. There's nothing really it's like no man's land in the consolidation that it's doing. But if you had the idea to look for a continuation right off of the open because Tesla was gapping down, it gave it to you beautifully. But that trade, I think it's kind of done for now. We could break that consolidation, continue as well. But yeah, until it decides where to go, I don't know if there's anything really there. But then again, what do I know? Maybe you have a playbook that plays on exactly that kind of price action, and that's what you're looking for. I have no idea. There's so many different ways and perspectives, yeah, I'm just trying to learn here, man. Right now, VWAP holding as of right now. I like VWAP holds. I think VWAP holds. They're a good confluence. I don't think there's necessarily a reason to start a trade, but I think it's good action to kind of pick up on, and then maybe make a decision based off of other factors of confluence as well. Here, Mike saying paper trading is key. Yeah, I mean you wanna build a little bit of consistency. I think consistency is key, and then once you can kind of build that consistency, hopping into live is good. Again, we were talking about how the last month I've been in a bit of a drawdown. So something when I get a little too crazy with my risk, more often than not, I find myself kind of sizing down, going back to the drawing board, trying to make better decisions, just holding it for the trade, maybe risking a little wider instead of blowing up a risk on multiple trades. Just being like, all right, well, if this doesn't go from here, I'm more than willing to put on this amount of my daily risk and call it a day on the trade, especially if it's at a place where things look like they can potentially work off of. But yeah, again, it's just a work in progress. I want to know what you guys are trading. I'm not seeing too many tickers in the chat. We talked about Hertz. We talked about NVIDIA. Maybe something you guys can add in is the tickers that you guys are potentially trading and what way you've been looking at. What's your trade thesis as well. And if you don't want to give away your alpha, that's fine as well. But I'm just curious to know how people are perceiving this market, what they're trading, what is in play for you. I would like to know. J-Dog saying Intel. Oh boy! Before we take a look at Intel, let's take a quick look at SMH here. And yeah, a little bit of a similar story to the Nasdaq. Yeah, I think you can expect the tech sector to be heavily reflected here in SMH. But yes, nice little gap down continuation happening here on SMH. Wow, beautiful. Look at that prior week low. I think this was another trade that I definitely missed. Again, one of my top ideas was looking for that prior week low continuation on the week coming in today. Now, not every ticker gave it to you cleanly, but there were tickers that gave it to you pretty decently. So I think, again, SMH being an ETF, it gave it to you pretty nice as well. That low was Wednesday's low. A little bit of confluence from even the Thursday before last week as well, 189. Look at that. That support becoming a resistance on the day as of right now today on SMH. So let's take a quick look at what Intel is up to. Now, sometimes I've been noticing that Intel likes to do its own thing, but that's all right. But when the tailwind of the sector is pretty strong, it can definitely affect a lot of tickers, even ones that are not as heavily weighted in the sector, right? So you can see here Intel kind of more the same, as we did attempt to take a little bit of a push above prior day's highs. So again, a little different than some of these other tickers. Didn't see that gap down. We saw that SMH gap down below, consolidate, and then break that prior day low. But you can see in the pre-market, you can see that attempt to push, maybe grab some lick there from earlier last week, and then take it through prior week lows here. Current low 1825 here on Intel coming in. Let's see if the market does bounce. We printed red prior 15-minute. We're printing green this time around. Let's see if that bounce will come into the market. Let's see if 17.8 is the low that was written for today. I have no idea, but Intel is a good one as well. Let's see, what else do we got? Surin saying cold and SCO going up on energy downtrend. Yeah, let's take a quick look at natural gas here as well. Cold and boil. Again, I was trading a lot of cold when I first came to the floor, but some of those tax those tickers that were tax exempt or whatever, that news came in a little cold for me, and I couldn't really trade this one anymore. But doing a decent move here on the day today is natural gas. We'll take a look at more energy names after we get back from Madeira.
Walmart and Target pushing higher here, WMT and TGT. Seeing some reports here apparently that Walmart and Target executives are set to meet with Donald Trump amidst some concerns here about the impact of tariffs. Now, it's worth noting, I'm not seeing a source attributed to this story, like in terms of a publication. If I find that out, I'll let you know. But multiple accounts sharing here on X, apparently Walmart and Target executives set to meet with Donald Trump. Further, the report reportedly mentions Home Depot and Lowe's executives also set to meet with Trump. All of these meetings set to take place on Monday. Again, if I have any more details on this, including the source of this article, I will let you know. Back to you.
Yeah, so some of those stickers here. Again, like I said, I am watching some staples, I guess, or I guess this one would be consumer. Nike. Back up into VWAP right there. So some strength coming in with that reversion. Market's looking like it is attempting for a bit of a bounce here on the day, as that 17.8 level right here, if we can go to my screen, is holding on the Nasdaq, and then 51.50 on the ES. But again, are we looking for that continuation? Are buyers really strong enough to revert some of this selling, or are sellers starting? I mean, sellers started off the week strong. Let me tell you, Monday coming in hot after a long weekend, and yeah, this market's been being a little bit sold off to the downside here, to say the least. But yeah, nothing too crazy. I'm in a bit of a short. Let's see if that works in. Bit of a counter trend trade here. Maybe you know, I like the short idea on gold, even though it's pushing all-time highs. But I don't know if it was the best idea on the day. Like I said, some of that gap down continuation, some of those trades came in real clean. And instead of maybe fighting for a short on gold, even though it did give it to me, I can be short other things as well, as multiple things in the market are just bleeding out here. So yeah, I don't know. I came in today and I was like, yeah, I definitely want to sell a little bit of stuff today. Anybody chasing any sort of strong moves, I definitely want to sell to them. That was the idea coming in. Did I execute well on it? Questionable. Finally got myself into a trade that I do like. So let's see if that one potentially comes in. Looking for that gold to go through low at 8. Don't know if it's going to come in, but I'm going to be patient. That 314.18 low was nice. Some of the sellers that came in off of this open were nice as well. Right off the open as well. Like opening price here on GLD is 315.01. We've been kind of consolidating in and around that. That's kind of where that VWAP area is as well. So some confluence as we chop around sideways there on GLD. Let's see if that bid comes in, and again, maybe more and more people looking to chase these gold highs as people have been buying this asset up pretty decently over the past few weeks. We can take a look at these gold ounce. There it is. Those are the CFDs. So let's go to higher time frame. You can go to gold futures as well, but this is fine. This is close enough. Yeah, you can take a look at that. This is a 3-hour. Let's go straight to the weekly because that's what we're talking about. Back to back right here. Absolute strength here on gold. So yeah, I'm just being patient, kind of trying to feel out the price action here as it is aggressive with that strength. As you guys know, I like a little bit of the counter trend, but again, it is a work in progress. I do have to do better at the executions when it comes down to it. And I think we were talking about this a little last week on, I think, Thursday, Wayne and I kind of coming up with, what's it called? I'm forgetting the name of what the procedure is called, like a branch. Like, okay, like yes or no. I'm forgetting the name for it. Like ask myself a question, right? Mm-hmm. Am I counter trending? Yes, then this, right? So it's like kind of like a flow chart kind of concept of your trade idea. It's like, all right, do I know I'm counter trending? Yes, then don't expect significant follow through if you're counter trending. You know you're against the trend, so take the legs as they come. If you do really feel like counter trending, right? Are you counter trending? No, then are you with the trend, right? You could also be not counter trending, looking for the counter trend, and kind of mess yourself up there as well if the ticker's not really doing anything and chopping around sideways. But gold not really trending as of right now, but bigger picture, it definitely is. So with respect to that, maybe a little bit of a counter trend on a day where we gap up and push a little bit higher here. But like I said, no idea what I'm doing. Let's see if we get a little lucky with this gold on the day today.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Obi. Yeah, again, like if you're going against the trend, don't look for that necessarily an extended move unless we're going to put in a pure reversal, and I don't think that's going to be necessarily the case here in this market just yet, right? I'm not gonna. You don't want to rule anything out, but I believe just right now it's just not time. Jose and Chile, I was in Dallas, yes, and I didn't give you a call. My bad, brother. I guess I lost your number or something along those lines, so. We'll have to get that sorted out maybe next time I'm in Dallas. Yeah, it's an all right city. I can't really complain. Yeah, it was a good time, nice and warm there as well, 30 degrees.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So it was a really nice time there. Yeah, and just
humid or
yeah, it was really nice. You know what? You know what's funny? So the whole time. The sun was cloudy, but it was warm. I didn't see the sun the whole time I'm there, and then obviously right when I get to the airport is when the sun decided it wanted to come out. So yeah, that's just how it works sometimes, but that's okay. All right, guys. Best ETF for trading gold, says Nimrod. I like GLD. Yeah, I think
there's dust as well, which is the inverse.
Gold Dust, remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that guy, Gold Dust?
Gold Dust, no.
Yeah, the wrestler.
No.
You don't know Gold Dust?
No.
That's funny. Yeah, Gold Dust. He was an interesting character for sure. But yeah, let's see going back to what Obi was saying here, guys, looking to continue and follow this trend here on NVDA. Let's see if we can break through some of these support levels. Nice consolidation phase here, guys, as we are trading around the lows of the day, down 3 1/3 here. Not too good of a look for NVDA. So really tough session Monday morning for NVDA, down 5 1/3 here on the day. Yeah, you remember him, Mike Tirider? That's funny. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so let's see what else we got going on. Well, we'll go through. We'll go through what we were trading here on the day. You can see that we are now short NVDA. I got out of the IBIT trade. It just pulled back. The thing would just start small, right? It came back in towards the volume weighted average price. We didn't get that bull flag type price action and break for that move higher. But we got a small move to the top here. I was looking for that crack of the high day, but it didn't come into play. And I did want to mention this, and I think I have it up right now. IBIT 51. Strike 32,000 open contracts at this current expiration cycle, and what was our high? 50.38. All right, so just once again coming into play. I'm going to start a tally or something along those lines to say how many times are we going to reject some of these key levels of open interest. Explain to us what's interesting about Gold Dust if you like. Oh. Explain to us what's interesting about Gold Dust, and if you think you liked his outfits. I mean, Gold Dust was just I think he was just one of the funnier wrestlers, that's for sure. His finishing moves were funny and definitely characteristic, that's for sure. So yeah.
I remember when I was a kid. Again, my parents never really allowed me to watch WWE. I think I was in elementary school at the time, and there was this dude that would come on called Rafiki. Yeah, that dude was wild.
Funny. Yeah.
That was wild. He was wild. Freaky dude.
Funny? So like obviously as kids we were big like wrestling fans, my cousins and I, but one of my buddies, his finishing move was one of the Rafiki moves.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So none of us ever wanted to wrestle him. Yeah.
It's a great way. If you don't want to fight, you can be like, this is my style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
Oh boy.
It's funny. Yeah. But yeah, let's see. Honestly, Obi, I don't know if one thing I want to note though is that what you were saying earlier was just respecting trend lines. Obi, there you go. You're getting that breakdown. You're right back to those levels that you're looking for. Yeah. And I think that it was coming into play, especially because it failed to construct a new high. So then you get that move lower. But what I was referring to, and you were talking about this earlier, Obi, is just respecting the trend line. It breaks it to the downside. He was talking about Meta. You can see that it went on that move, and then eventually it cracked that trend line and moved to the downside. As simplistic as it may seem, the hard thing about it is actually just respecting what the chart is telling you, because you've built this trade plan, and if it goes to the other side, you don't necessarily want to abandon it that quick. And that's what the likes of just following what the options chain is telling us. And I mentioned this before. So last week, I told you I've seen this twice on the options chain with NVDA. It's the fact that just before earnings, I seen a high level of open interest, and then last week along the same lines, and then unfortunately we got that news on the fact that like, hey, now for that H20 chip, you're going to need NVIDIA is going to need a license to ship it to China, and then you can see it absolutely tank. So it's just respecting those levels that are telling you and expecting and respecting the trend line. So Ravi Fernandez, my target there on NVDA. If it continues to break down, if we crack through the top side of this trend, which is looking like it may happen, because there is some levels of open interest at that 55 strike price, but I would look for anything south of where I entered, obviously, and that's going to bring me to that next level around 92 or 94 and 93-ish. So looking for like a 1 to 2 point move on that one, and then a potential bounce there on that front. But I do want to look for the continuation on the long here in Bitcoin. I think over the weekend, considering it was relatively strong, I look at my phone. I didn't look at the market too often, Bitcoin market that is too often. But then when I looked last night, I seen that we were hovering around 96, 97. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a strong underlying, and look for the continuation and strength in it, because I do believe that there's somewhat of a rotation going into more of these, I guess, hedges against what's going on from an economic standpoint, Obi.
Yeah, no, I didn't take any economic courses or finance. So a lot of that stuff kind of just like flies over my head. But I'm doing a little bit better, learning some more fundamental things. But it was funny. I was listening to a podcast over the weekend. An experienced trader, he's put out some great material as well. And it's funny. He basically kind of reiterated that point. He's like, fundamentally, I don't really understand. Like, don't go into depth as much on some of these tickers. It's more about I guess the offside. And figuring out how participants can potentially be positioning in and finding out where their pain points are, and kind of, I always say this, it's a PvP game, right? Like you can do all the thinking, you can do all of the analysis and position yourself into a position, and maybe you leave a footprint, and when that footprint is left, oh boy, guess what? I might know where you might be in trouble. So if that happens, then the offside could be a potential trade, and has nothing to do with fundamentals, right? So, but maybe fundamentals of price action. But we'll continue after we get back from Madeira.
Just be aware here. Keep an eye on the markets. Charles Gasparino, this is a frequent Fox Business contributor, tweeting once again today, and it is worth noting he's actually shedding some light on a negotiation process between Japan and the U.S. on tariffs. Now, again, this is just a report, so nothing confirmed, but he's saying that apparently a financial CEO is saying the reason there are some issues happening here is because the White House is not consistent about what it exactly wants and needs from these negotiations. So this could potentially be a negotiation tactic. But either way, according to one financial CEO interviewed here by Charles Gasparino, who again is not named, it is reportedly this lack of clarity on the terms of the tariff agreements that is leading to some slowness in negotiations between Japan and the U.S. on tariffs. Back to you.
Normally, if you're using an Edge A, you can't. If you have posted orders out, you can't add to your position. Right. But I'm realizing that, or you can't get out either, right? You have to
I thought you couldn't have two stop orders.
Yeah, you can have the script as well. But yeah, no, I'm interested. I just learned something new. I'm just like, okay, this might be a little bit of a game changer for me. In just a little bit of a gate nuance or order structure nuance here. So I'm going to show about that one there. But yeah, it seems like, I don't know. I got to delve a little bit deeper into this here and see if there's more to it than I'm really thinking about as of right now. But yeah, gold kind of coming into some of those prior lows, intraday lows here, covered a little bit here. Let's see if we can kind of give us that continuation. Market's taking a bit of a bounce. That 17.9 was interesting. That was that first spot where the NASDAQ kind of came in and consolidated there for about 3 15-minute candles here. We're coming right back up into that area. Let's see if that support that would lasted for a little bit now turns into resistance in and around that 17.9 as well, right? So it's like, okay, we just talked about a little bit about the offside, right? It's like, all right, so if the bid kind of slows down here and it starts to turn, maybe there are participants that are risking off that 17.9, getting long, risking off that 17.9, and look, the breakdown comes in nice for a quick little scalp to the downside here for another 100 points, 17.9 to 17.8 there. So yeah, potential offside after you've seen some action on the chart there, maybe support and resistance hold, right? It's more recent. It's intraday, so you can bet on short-term participants potentially making active decisions, and if you see it actively happening on the tape in the price action, then there's your confirmation as well. And yeah, don't need to really know anything about the NASDAQ in order to take that trade, but. What else are you guys watching here? I know a lot of people throwing up MLGO, man. Yeah, again, MLGO, is that thing back at high days there? Last time we checked MLGO, it was made a high of 20. Was it 20 or was it a different one I was looking at? this is the high currently, 13.22. There's another ticker that we were watching that $20 was the high. I think it was that U ticker. Yeah, there you go. Boom. Wow, that's wild. We were talking about this, Joe, on this candle here. 6 minutes later, it wipes the high by 2 points and then flushes right back in there. So again, talk about offside. Again, shorts are probably risking against this if you are getting in and getting a quick little wipe, giving you maybe even a stronger reason to sell as it comes back in. Now VWAP all the way down at 11.18s. But yeah, MLGO might be an interesting one as well to keep eyes on as it continues to trend to the upside after having a strong down day on Thursday as well. It's been selling off pretty decently. Again, Tuesday, I don't know what news happened on Tuesday, but nice little push. Was it doing relative volume? Yes, it was. So maybe catalyst driven. Guess what? That high from last week was 13.59. Current day high 13.22 on MLGO. So I don't know if that information is going to help you out in any way, but that's just some information that's been printed there on the chart on the day. NVIDIA still consolidating near its day lows. Tesla, let's take a look on that one. They're still charging up to the downside potentially as it consolidates near day lows here. I have a little bit of a level here on top of 222s on Tesla. Let's see if it can come back down into there. But again, arbitrary support and resistance relative to what I think is important has nothing to do with how you might perceive the chart. But again, let's see if that 222 can potentially come in here. VWAP holding here on gold. As again, we are bouncing. Technically, we are bouncing. These past few 15-minute candles have had higher highs and higher lows, respectively, kind of grinding back up. But again, it seems like we're not grinding back up with any sort of aggression or symmetry, to say the least here. As again, the selling was pretty aggressive, and the bidding right now is kind of grindy, chop back up. I think that 17.9 might be a little bit interesting if and when we do get back above there. But as for now, it seems like we're catching a little bit of a grind here. Sellers definitely in charge on the day. Let's see if they continue to stay in charge. It's about 12:50 right now, so still got about a few hours left for the trading day. A few more 15-minute candles as well on the docket before we hit the bell. So a lot of action still well within the day's range here. Let's see what happens here. Again, we talk about gold kind of trending or consolidating sideways. Look, it's doing pretty much a lot more of the same right here. So you can see that opening price was at 315.01. We've been chop pretty much sideways. Maybe some compression as well, if you want to call it that. Higher lows and lower highs as well. Maybe about to make a decision. Again, cannot forget that bigger picture trend is strong to the upside, strong with momentum, with increasing volume. Let's go to the 1 month to kind of define that as well. Look at that. Wow. Look at these candles expanding on the monthly chart on gold. A little bit of increasing volume as well. Look at that strong volume here. Nice little breakout. When did that happen? Absolutely beautiful here. So that breakout happening on March 1st, it would seem. And gold's been on a bit of a strong trend since the beginning of March 1st, 2024. So pretty wild, man.
Yeah, nice trade there, though, on that one there, Obi. I think just kind of the parabolic price action that you've seen cooking up there on gold.
Yeah.
Looking for that.
Got to short the parabolics.
Yeah, you got to short the parabolics.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
It's a tough business.
It's absolutely a tough business because, again, the market can definitely stay rational a lot longer than we can continue our move. But we're there we go. We're starting to get that move here. So this is what's going on with NVDA here, guys. I mentioned that if we crack through that, that's why you just start really small. But then you can see just from a risk-reward standpoint, you vastly increase it. So it's like, okay, essentially I'm wrong at the break of this is what my trade plan was. But then now you can see that I get right back up around near the highs, and now the market is absolutely tanking. So there we go, getting that one to move as some of these big names look like they want to take another move to the downside. So catching the top of the range, that's something that Neil and Sean are absolutely amazing at, is just catching the tops of these ranges and then taking the move to whatever direction they are trading in. So yeah, really good look on that front. In there, out here, right back into the trade thesis, not abandoned just yet, and then we take that move to the downside. We're back in some IBIT as well here too, guys. Let's see if we can get this bounce. I've seen some indecision here on the 1 minute. We might have to pick up the time frame here and zoom out a bit. Like if we go for the 3 minute, there was some indecision, but it's looking like it may be a breath right now. So we got to be a little bit more patient. I do believe, considering that we were trading above the volume weighted average price for the majority majority of the session, that hopefully this is just, we're just below it. Hopefully it didn't snap, and then we can continue to maybe take a second leg higher, because we are still up 3% on the day, when NVDA is now down 5.5% on the session here, Obi, and heading towards the low days, as the overall market is as well too here, guys. So it's just easier to stick with that trend, especially in that environment, and that's why we decided to short NVDA, one of the larger names. But what I did, Obi, and I didn't know this, I knew that one of the longest bear markets was during the Great Depression from 1929 to 32, but I didn't know that so let's get some percentage points here. During this period, the stock market lost approximately 86% of its value. Did you know that?
There were some heavy pullbacks.
Yeah, I didn't know it was 86% to be exact. So you go from 381 points to 41.2 points. That is absolutely insane. I didn't know those exact numbers, but very, very interesting. And it was, how long was it? So yeah, again, yeah, about 3 years. So ooh, ugly, ugly stuff. Yeah. On that front. If you guys knew that, please let me know. But let's go IBIT, hold these lows, see if we can construct a higher low, because we're going to use this as our trend line, and then when it, oh, maybe it did snap that. Yeah, and we might have broke it to the downside. So we could head toward that low a day. I mentioned that high level of open interest here on IBIT at that 51 strike price, and then we had a high today of about 50, to be exact, 50.42. So we didn't get quite to that 52 strike price. So yeah. Joe, okay, Joe, I thought you were moving. Are you not in the video shorting my C to be, it seems to be breaking out? Yeah, I am. You can see it on the position board. I'll pull it up for you guys again right now. As you can see that it's starting to pull back a little bit as we head into the lows, but yeah, breaking down on a good look, selling the top of the range, and I think that's something which you want to do. I mentioned, I was looking for that breakdown right here, because you can see that we had multiple tests, right? And then we failed to put in a new high right here. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is going to be the leg that we had lower. No. We crack it there, and then I just get right back into the trade as we continue to bleed here in this market, OB. So yeah, you want to follow that. But let's see what Adara's up to, guys.
Earlier, I saw here some chatter on X about Walmart and Target executives potentially meeting with President Donald Trump today. Now we have a White House official confirming that Donald Trump will be meeting with major retailers, including Walmart, on Monday. WMT actually dropping here on this. Again, major retailers, including Walmart, set to meet with Donald Trump on Monday, according to a White House official. Previous reports circulating around X suggested that these meetings had to do with concerns about tariffs. Now, some other companies that I saw floated around as having executives meeting with Trump today included Target, Home Depot, and Lowe's. Keep an eye on WMT, TGT, HD, and LOW as we send you back to Joby.
Yeah, just talking to Joe about some position management as the market comes right back in. Sellers are stepping right back into this market. So hello, more of the same. Players who were showing dominance in the morning session have continued to show dominance in the midday session as of right now. After a little bit of a slowdown, maybe a little bit of a lunch break, maybe they went out and had a oh, I didn't have my butter tart today, so maybe they had a
That's not good.
bit of a butter tart lunch break, and then coming back in with that selling as of right now. Let's see if gold. What's that? I like butter, like the second cup butter tarts. They're good. I can probably not say no to a butter tart.
Like with like a little.
Yeah. A little walnut butter tart there. Yeah, I like that. I have a little bit of a sweet tooth.
I like that.
You know, I like my chocolate cake.
You like your chocolate?
Yeah, I still can't believe you've never ate pie.
Yeah.
Like apple pie, lemon meringue.
I hear it every day. And
Have you ever had a butter tart? Chocolate tart?
Maybe. I'm gonna just say maybe. Like I might have tried. I've had
peanut butter cookie.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try a peanut butter cookie.
Yeah.
Another one.
Maybe. I think.
I like peanut butter cookies. Yeah.
I mean, Sharif made me try chocolate chip cookies. I told you guys I'm a big.
What do you mean he made you try?
Yeah.
He strap you down to the chair and be like, you have to eat this?
He broke it in half. He said, "You're eating this." Man. He's like, "Yeah, you are." I know. I'm just joking. He didn't make me eat it. But yeah, I tried it. But again, man. I told you guys for the longest time, even when I was a kid, I just never really, it took me a while until I got older is when I really started eating sweets. And then that's when I kind of got into like the gummy worm game, which is a trouble. Yeah, which is it's dangerous. You don't want to go down that path.
I mean, we all have our kryptonite.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, again, bulk bar gummy worms and gummy bears, that's where you're really going to catch me. Oh, and Score Bar. I really like toffee. There's toffee in there, right? I'm a big
Toblerone?
Toblerone, not so much. No,
yeah, it's got some nougat.
Okay. What's that? I don't even know what that is.
I have no idea, but it's like this. It's like this. I have no idea.
What's it called? Nougat?
Yeah. It's like nougat.
Oh, nougat. Okay, nougat. Why are you saying it like
Pronounced
that?
like nugget.
Why are you saying it like that? Nougat.
Nougat.
Yeah, nougat mayo. Yeah.
I can't read. Just trying to read these. Just trying to read this.
Just trying to read the chart.
Just trying to read the chart.
Matters at the end of the day. As long as
words.
You can read
what are
the
those?
It doesn't matter if you're literate or not. You can read the chart.
I just eat the chocolate, bro.
Yeah, you just eat. Yeah. Let's go here in NVDA, Obi. We're getting that breakdown through some of these key support levels, piecing out here, guys. So a nice re-entry here on IBIT, and I know that you're starting to, I know you're starting to piece out of your gold trade as well. There.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, all right, like I said before, the longs have won, the shorts have won. It's clearly kind of sideways, consolidating sideways. I do want to start piecing off of it. I've already pieced off of more than 50% of the trade, but we were just talking about this. I was like, I don't know. I think I should be adding here as the market takes a little bit of a quadunk to the downside and prints some fresh lows, man. But, it's holding VWAP as of right now. I'll keep a little bit of a runner on initial trade. Again, I was just talking to you about this. This was so funny here. Again, I don't know if any of you can really relate to this. I'm sure if you trade active daily, stuff like this happens all the time here. So I want to take a look at this action that happened to me in the morning. This is a 1 minute chart now on GLD. So you can see I was trying relatively early. You can't really see it here that well, but you can see a little triangle there. So I got short right off of the open there at 932. Instantly in the money, about $1 there. So that was a little unexpected. I was like, all right, well, they are selling to these longs right off of the open. And I was like, all right, that's what I want to see. Got to get a little cheeky when it comes all the way back, because if it's going to hold that 314, come back, like maybe you want to respect that and get out and reassess. But funny enough, I try a couple more times. They're keeping it relatively light, but I think this is where I start getting a little bit more aggressive here after we kind of push through that pre-market high and then false break it, come back in. So now I'm really kind of getting a little bit more aggressive, a lot more aggressive than I was on the initial couple of tries there. Get stopped out of that one, and then this is the one I was talking about, Joe. So this comes in, this aggressive bid through 316 comes in right into the 20s, and I'm like, all right, cool, stopped out. Let's see if 317 comes in, and let's see if we can print the quarter above that 316. And guess what? It starts to stall. It holds reserve. There's definitely a seller that kind of shows up, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe that's what I want to see. That's clearly what I wanted to see here. Maybe it's a little too early, but in this moment, I have about a less than a 10 penny risk for the trade. And I'm like, of course I'm getting right back in, giving it that 10 pennies, maybe even more in the future. But look at that, it kind of comes in. I stopped, so here's the thing, it stopped me out right away because I threw in my EJ order. My EJ order was incorrect. I fat fingered the number. I think I typed in 315s instead of 316.20s. As soon as I hit that stop order, it got me right out, and I was like, oh boy, that was great prices in the 20s. I'm like, all right, it's okay. Don't stress, get right back in. The worst price, but the trade is still on. We saw what we wanted to see, maybe now even better, because this aggressive seller comes in and just flushes into the bid all the way from 1620s down into 315.70s. I'm like, all right, that's the first kind of strong seller that comes in. Look at this Fugazi wipe that comes in all the way up to 316.20s, makes a lower high. I get a little lucky. My stop was right there. It could have gone hit for that stop, but take a look at that. Comes right back in, and I think right here, this 314.10s, this was the area to kind of really cut the trade. Those sellers have kind of started to slow down. We even come back into the VWAP right here. So this 315 to 314, sure, it's a whole dollar range, but it's showing you that the selling is kind of slowed down from that morning session. So I think that going back, a retrospect, I gotta keep that in mind, and especially this little lick grab of that prior low. Can't really break it with conviction. This consolidation right here, I could be making some decisions, but you know, it is what it is. We got a little bit better. Oh boy, while I was talking, it's coming right back in. So like I said, Joe, maybe that was an area to add. We get a little bit better every day, and that's definitely going into the notes today. So if I have a decent position on the board and it shows me consolidation underneath VWAP, maybe look for that consolidation to keep on going there. And absolute flush city, bro.
Absolute
nice
flush,
trade.
Absolute flush city here in the market, guys. You can see that we are now continuing to move to the downside here in it. So cracking through those key support levels, heading lower and lower. Where is that next level of support, guys? You tell me. I pull it up and I tell you guys all the time, where can we potentially bounce? So I want you guys to pull up your options chains and your support and resistance levels and put them in the chat there, guys. Where do you think the NASDAQ is heading today? We're going to hold on to this last little bit here of the NVDA trade. Now heading down to about 6% here, Obi. We're going to touch it here momentarily. We're going to send it to Adara before we get to 6%. Ooh, there we go.
Here is Palo Alto Networks. I mean, it's very much to the downside like the rest of the market, but one interesting note here coming through from The Information, which is, of course, a news publication. Sometimes, though, they do offer takes on stock. And they just had one of their, I guess someone who works for them, publish a positive note about Palo Alto Networks saying it, quote, offers a smooth ride in turbulent markets. So The Information posting a piece that is pretty bullish pan W here, also noting that because the company is one of the largest names in the cybersecurity space, it fares pretty well given how crowded that market is. So PANW actually getting a positive note, though, dropping with the rest of the market here, guys. Back to you.
Thank you. Ray.
Yeah. Do you want to cover that gold trade there, Obi? Because it's absolutely fantastic.
I mean, it's covering itself to the downside right now. So
all right, let's go.
314,
like that.
313.95. Like I said, let's see if we can get a little lucky. And it's just, you know, I happened to get a little lucky.
But show them how long you sat on that before you even took anything off the table.
Yeah, we just went through this. This flush was a great place to take some off. I didn't, and that's maybe why I'm making some more decisions here. When the trade is finally showing me that it's working, that's why I was literally like, maybe this is a place to add. And then while I'm talking, it just quadruples to the downside. And I'm seeing that the market's also fading as well. That 17.9, sure, we were talking about it. Did that support turn into resistance? Not cleanly, but again, it was an area where sellers kind of stepped right back in and continue the trend on the day, and we print some fresh lows here. So let's see if gold is poised for a little bit of a flush here. 313.95. Some of these pre-market levels also coming in, so let's take a quick look at those here. Look at that, nice little trend break, draw a line, and it happens to work, right? That's what I mean, just get a little lucky sometimes. Look at this nice little shelf. Let's see if this turns into a bit of a shelf here. You can see making lower highs, relatively strong every time it gets down into this 314s, but making lower highs relatively as well now. So again, sideways consolidation. This is some of the pre-market levels that I'm watching right here. You can see a nice little gap up here. Prior day's close in and around 306s, so this was a decent gap up on gold, or GLD specifically here, about almost a 3% push with the pre-market action. Nice little beautiful selling that comes in right into VWAP, stalls on the bid, beautiful, and then rips for a fresh high there, maybe some false break, who knows? Maybe some lick grab happening there, but this action on the day definitely getting sold to. And we talk about the offside. If you have been long anywhere off the open, I think you're starting to get a little bit sweaty at 313.95s. I mean, unless you're using something like an ATR stop or keeping it much wider for maybe something that's higher time frame, then that could be very, very different. But yeah, currently day low potentially coming in. This prior low right here, that was really strong as well. This little flush, you can see that aggressive selling come in. Failure of VWAP that low is sitting at 314.18, and that's what I'm looking at. Here it comes as of right now, 314.19 on the bid, cracks right through the 314.10s. Here it comes, low a day, only about 10 pennies away, Joe. So I guess that was a place to add a little bit and get a little aggressive. I've been trying to get better with pyramiding, and I'm starting to realize what some of the better places to kind of get into the position are. But yeah. Let's move on to the next trade.
That's it. I love it, Obi. Yeah, let's see what the VIX is up to. When was the last time you looked at it? As we continue to move to the downside here, guys, let's see if we're going to get somewhat of a pop. And I refer... Yep. We're going to throw that up here momentarily. So again, inverse correlation to the market, guys. As we continue to bleed, NVDA, it's heading down towards that $95 target, 95.22 to be exact. But you can see the VIX starting to become elevated. Obi mentioned it before too. Look at this peak elevation right here, around 60, and then we just cut that almost in half. He was referring to the reversion trades here on the VIX, and I think they're fantastic ideas because, again, it doesn't stay elevated forever. But the key is to not get caught in some of this onslaught here. And again, like, what is the all-time thing? So we are at 86. That's crazy. What happened? Oh, that was COVID.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So
and then we popped to 6. Like that was August 5th. Like
this one right here.
That's August 5th.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's like what is really happening to volatility right now?
Yeah. I mean. Yeah, it's really crazy. It's most definitely spicy.
Yeah.
But here we go. We're gonna.
Do you think we're winding up for a much bigger move of levels of VIX we've never seen before because the market's like expanding in volatility over the past couple of years? It makes sense that we see some fresh VIX levels, does it not?
You think we go up to those 80 levels in the VIX?
I have no idea.
I think that would kind of lead to the question: do you think that the worst is over with these tariff talks? And if the answer is no, then maybe we can see those levels. Then if the answer is yes, then it's going to be the total opposite. But I think it's going to revolve a lot around that, unless something in the world catastrophic happens in that time as well, too. Yeah. That's when we can see that. But right when we get back from Madeira, guys, we're going to get into the Playmaker poll. I think we're almost at that 2-1 already if we classify that 1 o'clock entry. And we're still short NVIDIA at 96.19, guys. Let's see what Adaire's up to.
The U.S. FTC here making some action against Uber, UBER dropping to the downside. FTC announcing that it's going to be taking action against the company for deceptive billing and cancellation practices. They're going to be suing Uber with this in mind. So this is according to a court filing. Again, the Federal Trade Commission of the United States of America has taken some action against Uber, according to a court filing. Back to you.
Thank you very much.
So there you go. FTC going after Uber. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I necessarily feel about that, but it is what it is. Nothing we can do about it. Just play the price action as Obi would like to say, guys. All right, let's hop right into this and punch in some of these numbers here real quick on the SPY. We'll pull it up, SPY. And we're going to get into some entries for the Playmaker poll. We will account it for, again, we're a little late on the trade, but it is algorithmic trading that we were willing to hands off, says Obi. I see in the motion right now. So 511.15 is going to be our entry price. So he's just holding off, letting JLD continuously bleed here, guys. Entry number 82 on the Playmaker poll. Let's get these numbers in here as fast as we can. So we'll call it 511.30. It's going to be our entry price here. 511.30. Our stop loss is going to be at 513. Wow, that's crazy. 30. And then our profit target is our profit target is going to be 5. No, yeah, I got that wrong. I need Sharif. This is where I need Sharif here. 512.13 is going to be our stop loss there, guys, and our target is going to be 509.30. All right, so 512.30. There we go, and then we're going to look for that 509 entry. 30. There we go. We are going short today. Bang. We don't know what that. Today is the 21st, right? Yeah, April 21st. And there we go. Let's see if this one cooks up here. We're going to be short minus 100 shares on that front. Look at all this data we collected here, Obi. That's pretty cool, no?
I'm liking that chart.
Yeah. And then we just.
So how many data points? 82. Let's go. That's solid.
That's solid. See, you know what I mean?
So there you go. That's a decent chunk of data.
That's what we want to do, and I mentioned this time and time again. I hope all you guys will continue to do this. Paulo was doing.
Yeah, I usually like a sample size of like 20 or more to really start.
Yeah.
Kind of pushing into something.
Yeah.
That just means that if you've had the record for a given trade, 20 iterations of it, or 20 times it's not necessarily iterations, but 20 times it's occurred, and potential different iterations of it, then you can really start building a little bit of a playbook there.
Absolutely.
And that's 80 is significant, man. Like 80, that's like
yeah.
Have you ran any like statistical significance or anything, but like we see that the chart is on its way up, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, again, it's like totally algorithmic,
Yeah.
right? It's just like in at 1 o'clock, $1 stop loss, $2 profit target, right? Regardless of what's going on. But here we go, guys. Getting that breakdown here in NVDA. We only have about 1 out left. We'll take it up as we start to pull back. So there we go. Best trade of my personal best trade of the day right here is this NVDA as we sell the top of this range and then break all the way down there, guys. So that is a banger on that one, and then Obi's got something really, really good cooking up as well too. So Paulo, I see. I don't know what that is there, Paulo. Don't worry about it. I don't think you're trying to be offensive or anything along those lines. I don't know what no tap is or anything like that. So again, refresh it. But I told you I already tried that that hair product stuff. Not good for the old health. I don't want to be putting chemicals up and around the brain area or tanking anything. So it is what it is. We'll deal with it. Yeah. Purple got perms. Yeah, so I mean, Obi. I don't know what Obi's trying to say. He's losing hair. He's still got a full head up there.
Oh, bro.
I guess you would know, right? You would know your hairline.
Yeah.
And
5 more years of trading.
Yeah, 5 more.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Give it 5 more years. Give it 5 more years, and we're going to Turkey.
But in all reality, that's when it really started to accelerate. It was when that, and then So
I was going through, just maybe some to give yourself a little bit of a lift up. I was going through some of the better traders, some more experienced traders. A lot of them are definitely.
It seems to be a common narrative here within traders is that you start losing.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good indicator of like, you're kind of in this game.
Okay, so this is actually our fault here, Obi, and it's our job to do this form of due diligence. Is that Adair just reported Uber? You said Uber is opening up a lawsuit against the FTC. FTC is opening up a lawsuit against Uber here, and you can see that volatility and that volume really starting to kick in. She's got more news on Uber for us here, guys.
So I'm just going to go over what happened here. There's not any more news, but I want to kind of remind people in case you missed it, what is going on with UBER? The Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, is suing the company. This is not a report. We know this through filings that the FTC has submitted there. Uber, I guess, is being accused of deceptive practices related to its Uber One subscription service. I also saw some commentary here, apparently deceptive billing practices. So keep an eye here on UBER deceptive billing practices, concerns about its subscription service, and I also saw some things about cancellation practices with regards to its rides. So UBER dropping to the downside. Be aware of this story if you're trading this name. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Bit of a pop. I mean, I was watching it. I'm like, is this going to set up for a reversion? Intraday news has been pretty fruitful over the past couple of months here, and depending on if you get on to the right side of the move. But a nice little pull up here as it slows down. Strong volume coming in. That break of that low day coming in with some of that news as well. That was interesting. Just keeping eyes on it, seeing if it consolidates, seeing if it's going to set up for a continuation or maybe a reversion. That little wick back up off the low of 71.92. Pretty interesting here, but again, it is fresh news. Things are still kind of getting digested. So I also want to be able to digest this price action before I take the next trade here. But gold here catching a little bit of a bid. So it seems like it was a golden opportunity while it lasted. But as of right now, maybe just consolidating sideways for now as it continues to hold some of these levels from before. You can see, again, I mentioned 314 bid, strong bid off of the open, 314.18, strong bid, maybe making a lower high, but bid nonetheless. Coming back into 314s clean now with a 98 test from below and catching a little bit of a bid here. Is this now the time that we kind of crack that 314 low a day with some conviction? I have no idea, but that lower high consolidation in and around VWAP underneath that 315, that's what I'm watching here. If this ticker is going to continue to step down and gold takes a little bit of a breather alongside this market that's selling off, I do want to look for a bit of stair-step action to maybe potentially get some more in. But like I said, I think I've overstayed my welcome in this trade for a while. That's why I'm out of more than 80%, roughly, I would say about 80% of the trade now as we came back into that 314, now consolidating. If it's gonna give me another chance to short, it might be in and around VWAP or off of something else, but I have no idea. Just waiting and watching for the next opportunity here. Where is the next trade? That's what I'm asking. Don't have all my charts open here at the desk as of right now, but what I do have is you guys. I want to know what you guys are trading so we can take a look at that as well. Rivian Millionaire, UNH, man, we talked about that UNH. Absolutely beautiful playbook setup for a continuation trade off of the open today. This was by far one of the top trades in my watch for today. So let me actually pull up my here. I got to pull up my Notion. Let me log into my Notion here as well, and then we can look at what my morning trade plan was. But yeah, that 447 clean break, VWAP rejection as well. Beautiful continuation, man. But yeah, as you're saying, a little bit of a pullback up into VWAP. What's a better trade? I don't know if the reversion would be a better trade, even though it is working, but that continuation, absolutely beautiful. Again, a lot of traders say this, and this is a great example of that. The best trades go right away. The best trades are in the money instantly. You don't have to worry about that. 44709s. Now I know if I go to my other chart here and go to a second chart or a 5-second chart and try to look at how fast that action really happened, we probably blasted through that 44709. You can see that 44709 right about here is where that price came in. Prior day low, breakdown, retest. This is another opportunity as well to potentially get in with VWAP sellers as well. So let me quickly pull this up for you guys. I gotta make use system setting dark. Okay, so let's quickly go to morning trade plan. Oh boy. All right, so let me do that. Okay, cool. So let's pull this in right here and take a read at what the morning trade plan was. So a lot of stuff going on here. So in the morning, I kind of define where the VIX is. I've been doing that more and more just to keep perspective in on the market. I do want to keep this on watch as well while we're talking about this. We'll go back to UNH in a second, but after we read this, so it's like all right, and then look for midday continuations if holding VWAP. If you guys have been watching, I've had this sentence on my daily watch list for about a few weeks at least, looking for those continuations potentially if they are setting up midday. For the trade. Costco, I talked about Costco. Costco, very strong bid, and I took this right from Sharif up and to the right. That's literally what the chart looked like on Costco on Thursday. Was it okay? So no, not up and to the right. I meant down. I meant down and to the right. That's what I meant, right? Sorry, no. That's today. Today is down and to the right. So Friday. See, this is why I'm getting confused. I'm like, what? So look at that strength on Friday. Up and to the right. So I was looking for a continuation on Costco through that 1,000 level. The high was 999 and 90. So you can see that flush coming in off of the open. Is that what I was looking for? Absolutely not. So left that one off the table, and look at that, selling dominant on that one. J&J broke out of earnings day one highs, end of week. Look for that continuation there as well. Did that potentially come in? No, it did not, as we sell off with the market. Again, the market tailwind definitely dictating a lot of these moves here. Hertz day 3, as I keep an eye on for the momentum trend to break short term. Look for sellers to hold and step down after this happens to add more confirmation for the trade. And what did Hertz do? I think this one did kind of do what I was looking for off of the open. Yeah, a little bit of a selling kind of to step down, but nothing too crazy there as that selling stops at that 661, and we're pretty much still within that prior day's range on Hertz. So didn't really get too hurt with that one, as it's not really doing what I'm looking for as of right now. So Netflix earnings. So I got 3 names on for earnings: Netflix, UNH, and MAN. So MAN, I don't know what they do, or wasn't even on my radar, but it came up on my scans. So Netflix, I was looking for a simple continuation, right? I'm like, all right, Netflix might not be my top idea, but looking for that continuation through that prior reaction high. Never came in, consolidating sideways. So did that do what I was looking for? Not really. UNH, we talked about, this was the only one that really did what I was looking for, and I was not involved. Bit of a miss on my part. And man, let's take a look at this one. Man, this one had 0 action on the day today. Let's go to Dara.
This part of the show is brought to you by ProfitX. In sports playing, flexibility is everything. At ProfitX, you can see the order book just like a financial exchange. Pick your spot and customize the odds to fit your risk. Why settle for a single offered price when you could set your own? Plus, our mobile interface makes it easy to play on the go. Profit X, where you call the shots anytime and anywhere. Users can use code TraderTV to get our sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300. Back to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, anything you want to finish?
I'm just watching. I'm looking for a potential place to add more into this trade. Futures are trying to bounce here, but again, got to keep bigger picture in mind. The sellers are in charge today. So we go back to the flow chart. If I go long right now, if I'm attempting to go long right now, am I counter trending? Yes. So therefore, should I expect a full-on follow-through, full-on 30, 40, 50% reversion? Probably not. Unless and until it shows me that it can break above prior intraday supports that have been acting as resistances and hold and step up higher. So I don't know, just a simple kind of a price action rule there that, again, when I'm following, I'm doing okay. When I'm not following, that's why I get myself into a little bit of trouble here. And as GLD kind of comes right back in off of that 314, showing us a little bit of a bid, I'm going to take off pretty much 95% of that, just leaving on a breadcrumb. So that is done there for me on gold. Let's see what that one has in store. I might as well just throw in a stop at high a day and call it a day as well on GLD. What is the next trade? Yes, Neil Roberts saying breaking out the decision tree. Yes, thank you. The decision tree. That's the flow chart. That's the name that I was looking for here. Yes, the decision tree is definitely something I can be thinking about. And you're saying taking back to senior year of econometrics class. So maybe that's what I'm missing out by not having a finance degree. I'm like, maybe I could be doing, I could be a little bit more ahead on this. And Sean's saying I'm not missing out on anything. Yeah, I know. But here's the thing, man. You can either go to school and learn about these things, or you can you have YouTube. You have a lot of online learning facilities. You got the library. You got the good old Dewey Decimal System.
You got the best technology apparently made to date.
Yeah, GPT. This is the time where you can learn without paying tens of thousands of dollars to a business institution. You have
the option to like and subscribe.
There you go.
This trade has unlimited upside.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. So you can't forget the times that we're living in. You want to pay $50 to $100,000. Sure, you get the degree, but at the end of the day, if you still want that knowledge, this is a great time to be alive. And the knowledge is at your fingertips. You have the whole world at your fingertips. What are you doing? Right there. Is the real question. That's what I've been asking myself. That question is not directed to you guys. That's to me. I'm like, if I lack some knowledge in economics, right? Dang. I can take a crash course with GPT and be like, take me through a crash course of an economics degree. I want to know all the basics that are taught, and I want to go through those lessons, and I want to engrave some of those concepts in.
Do you have a paid sub for GPT?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would get that. You would.
Oh
get
yeah,
it.
yeah. Oh, I'm using it very actively.
That's sick. That's sick. Yeah, good stuff there. All right, guys, I want to talk a little bit about Netflix here, because there's a point that Katina Man made last week. And that was that the CEO said that they want to hit that $1 trillion market cap. And what Sean was saying, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult when you stay around the price target that you're currently sitting at. So if they were to do a split, I agree with him on that front, that it would be significantly easier for Netflix to hit that $1 trillion market cap. But again, let's go over some of these numbers because they're really, really fantastic. So Netflix reaffirmed its 2025 revenue guidance of about $43.5 billion to $44.5 billion, near analyst consensus, and aims for about a 29% operating margin, while foreign exchange shifts have been favorable. Recently, no major change has been made to the overall business forecast. So what else do we got here? The shares rose about 2% at $9.92 as of 7:45 a.m. in the pre-market, trading after the company's first quarter results beat expectations across profit, revenue, and margins. The company posted earnings per share of $6.61 under generally accepted accounting principles, beating estimates by about 95 cents there. Revenue reached $10.5 billion, a 12.5% increase from a year earlier, and $40 million ahead of projections. And here we go. Was WrestleMania live yesterday? Because when I was scrolling, yeah. So there you go. Like again, Sean mentioned this as well too. We're getting the live sports. We're getting the big day live sports. That Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight just absolutely hit it out the park. It crashed the platform. And then now we're getting the WWE live events. Again, now with the ad revenue as well too, looking to double in 2025. I think this is a fantastic stock. When you look at some of these other bigger names, we know that Netflix was a part of FANG, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, whatever it may be, and Google. But here you can see that a lot of the other tech stocks were down 20%, 25%, with Meta being down 35%. Look at Netflix here. From its current peak to where we're trading at, we're down 8%, guys. So this name has just absolutely been trading phenomenal, and it's been holding up really, really strong. So this is a fantastic name. I really, really like Netflix, and along with a lot of other people, and whether it be retail investors, whatever, they want to get involved in this, but not necessarily at this price. A split would be fantastic, and I think it's going to get a lot of more individuals involved in this name, and it would be significantly easier for us to get to that $1,000 or that $1 trillion market cap here in NFLX. There we go, Netflix. There it is. So yeah, really like this name. We are starting to head towards the downside on it, but great numbers, and you want to stick to strong assets. So if the market starts to rebound, they best believe that will continue to grow. And family values. I like what you're pointing out that you only see 500 likes. We don't ask for very much around here, guys. So if you could just hit the like and subscribe, that would be absolutely fantastic. It would definitely
you have
it helps
the option
the channel
to like
well
and subscribe.
Too. So we got about 5,200 of you guys
upside.
watching. Let's get that up about north of 1K here. So let's get those likes up. What's up, Gerald Fitz? Why you LOL, Joseph? So yeah, yeah. There we go. Let's go. Hit that like and subscribe, guys. Doesn't take too much effort. And also, if you subscribe, you can also contribute to the chat and chime in some of your stock market opinions. Now, guys, we got out of the NVDA trade once we cracked the downside of this trend. Now we're sitting on the backside of it and now hovering around this 95.20. I mentioned from an options chain standpoint, we don't have too much going on other than some overhead resistance in some of these big names. So 22,000 at that 95. What was our low here? 95.12-ish. So, yep, coming into play, holding up really, really well. What was the low? Yeah, so earlier, too, we cracked through that. We put about 95.54, and then we made an additional leg lower, and now we're holding that base relatively well. So, good look there on NVDA. Pull up that options chain, see what we got going on. Max Pain for this week's expiration cycle is looking like it may be around that $90 level with 60,000 current open contracts at that strike price OB.
Yeah, John Von Sanders saying, "Great show, but it's lunchtime. Have a good lunch there."
I put burgers and beers in there.
Yeah. It's a pretty exciting lunch there to start off the week. Gold coming right back into that VWAP level. So did we find a bid on top of that 314? It would seem so, as we're reverting right back into VWAP after extending a little bit aggressively off of it there. I saw that selling coming into 314, and I'm like, all right, well, if this doesn't go right away, I did cover a little bit there. If this doesn't go right away, I need to kind of start aggressively covering, because it gave you, how many times does it really need to show me that there's a bid on top of 314 for me to be like, oh no, maybe this time it'll break? You know what I mean? But yeah, let's be a little patient. Let's see if sellers step back in where they have been near the high of the range on the day today. Maybe we set up for another trade to the downside, or we just do more of the same, what we've been doing over the past couple of weeks. You saw the monthly chart, very, very strong to the upside. Let's see if we get some more extension to the upside as gold prints fresh highs, as the global market sentiments are a little bit skewed and all over the place, and some uncertainty as well, of course, right? People want to throw their money in safe assets, but we know what happened when in the past. You just talked about like other market crashes in the past, where safe havens may not have been as safe as people thought they were as well. But I don't know what kind of times we're coming into, but like I said, lots of opportunity, and I think this is a great time to learn as well, as this price action volatility can give you years worth of experience, because like when the market's really dead, like it's not giving you as many reps, right? Not a lot of trades are really showing up when the market's kind of not as hot, or maybe your playbook is not as hot during a slower market, but who knows? Yeah, I think I'm just kind of stammering on, but Uber is getting dropped off here to the downside, 71.40. Nice little acceleration. So I was, again, eyes on with that, what was it, the FTC there. So breakdown, giving us that continuation. Hasn't really reverted just yet. Sellers still pretty strong here on the day. But yeah, getting that continuation. I haven't really looked left on this chart just yet. Wow, that is a strong bid on GLD. Let's see if that can get back up to day highs. Give me a reason to sell. Nothing just yet. Only reasons to buy, where I already did the buying, but only to cover the position though. But let's take a quick look at a higher time frame here on Uber as it flushes to the downside. Yeah, okay, so higher time frame. I like to go from the 15-minute all the way up to something that's a few hours, just to give a good perspective as to what's been kind of happening here. Give me a picture, give me a story of what the buyers and sellers have been doing as of recent, right? As of recent, nothing too high time frame there just yet, but 60.12s is the low there from April 4th. Again, I forget what the catalyst might have been here coming into Monday, April 7th, but a little bit of a bid catching and continuation off of that. That's a really strong bid on Wednesday, April 9th there as well, and I'm sure these are all confluenced with the decent amount of relative volume there. You can see those elevated bars at the bottom of the screen showing us strong relative volume at that prior bottom, and we've been kind of trending off of that reference since then. Let's go take a look at a 3-hour chart and take a look at what this thing has been doing on a much higher time frame. So as we can see, from 2024 all the way to now, that's the beginning of 2024, we've pretty much stayed within range. We're pretty much in a sideways range. So 80s are the highs, 60s, maybe wick lows sometimes 64. So just kind of consolidating there. I want to go even higher now because we haven't been doing much over on the yearly, but maybe we are winding up on a much bigger time frame, right? So it's like if we've been going sideways for a year, that the question becomes, is this a much higher time frame consolidation for another leg up? We can see that all-time lows here. Let's go adjusted real quick. All-time lows 1371 here on Uber. And when we go to, I like 3-month charts as well, you can see that consolidation occurring a little bit better here. We are technically consolidating above a prior high that happened at 60 here on Uber for the past year or so. So interesting times. Let's see, with that FSD coming out, like I said, FSD could have the probability, has a probability to potentially change transportation, I think, in a very strong way, in a very game-changing way. It's gonna be evolutionary in terms of just normal human transportation. Again, compare. I know Elon does this as well, but I like to use this analogy of the elevator, right? We just talked about this. Just push a button on the elevator, gets you from point A to point B. Don't need to think about or worry about anything else. Think about all those hours that are spent in a current, modern day human's lifetime, just driving around, getting from point A to point B. Imagine you save all that time in your life, right? So I think it is going to be revolutionary. And the question now becomes, does that consolidation on that higher time frame confluence with that theory and that idea? I have no idea. That's up to you to figure out. And me too as well. I have no idea.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that, Obi, though. I think it's going to be game-changing. And we'll talk a little bit more about Tesla momentarily, but what is revolutionary here, Obi, is new traders, listen up. It's e-signal. First month, free. That's right. Free. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. Add to that part, I think that like FSD is going to be revolutionary.
Yep.
Again, so it's just, like I use the example, and it may not be the best example, but just remember, because we were born the same year, just remember as a kid, I don't know if you had a scooter or not.
Yep.
Did you have were you part of the scooter gang?
Those shins still have scars.
Scooter gangs, exactly. Like obviously you're just little kids. But now look how that's just kind of revolutionized, right? So we had push scooters. Now all these kids are driving the electric scooters, right? So, and I think I like your point that the fact is that like how many hours are spent of us driving in traffic if you live in a major metropolitan, then imagine you just had the ability to sit back in your full self-driving vehicle, get the work done that you need to do, and not necessarily have to stress out and be honking your horn all the time, being like, what's going on, sitting in gridlock traffic. And you can just work on more of yourself. You can do whatever you want, scroll your phone, do more work on your laptop or whatever.
Continue doom scrolling.
Yeah, it can continue doom scrolling, which is probably going to be horrible. But I mean, I think eventually it will lead to that, especially if you have longer commutes, etc. People driving in from, I guess if you're familiar with Ontario, Niagara Falls to Toronto, imagine you just had the ability to sit in your car, do your work for a couple hours and not have to really focus on what's going on in the road, and you just sit back and relax and go from point A to point B without having to drive there yourself. You just press a button on your computer there in the vehicle, and then you can do so. And I think eventually it will adapt to that, and I guess especially here in larger countries. So JJ, yeah, there you go. You just admitted there I was. Yeah, I was there. I was in part of a 10-year-old scooter gang. Yeah, we used to. Yeah, we were pretty hardcore scooterers when we were.
We had a little bike gang. I had a BMX.
Did you have a?
So
BMX?
yeah,
Four pegs.
Yeah, I had 4 pegs on BMX.
That's funny.
So those were fun days. Yeah, lots of tumbles there as well. It was funny because we growing up in a place that was there was new homes being built as well.
Like
there was a lot of like wooden planks and bricks and stuff like that development that was going on. So we would kind of build some ramps and do some
we were all
stuff with that.
Man.
So it was fun times.
We were clearing stairs into like you have a 4-set stairs on the scooter, and we had a good time. Definitely had a good childhood, no doubt. But let's see what everybody thinks about that there, Obi. Interesting combo. There's one big problem. Our infrastructure cannot handle everyone cruising in self-driving cars all day, okay? I'm interested on that. HyperQ, please elaborate a little bit more. Do you think just because we don't have the roads necessarily to do so? I know Toronto isn't the best at building new roads or anything, or expanding the ones that we have at fact, so I can agree with you on that front. But I mean, if everybody's kind of cruising at the same speed, wasn't that one of the resolutions to solving a kind of gridlock? If everybody's actually driving at the same speed, you don't get as much traffic. I could totally be wrong on that front, but I like that point as well too. It would be great for the public transit system to kind of pick up their game. I know in other countries, I heard that London's transit system is immaculate and really good. You can almost get anywhere. I've never been there personally, so I wouldn't know. I heard Japan is pretty good as well too. Have you been to Japan?
No, but I've seen their subway system. It goes in a circle around Tokyo, I think, something like that. But yeah, the design that they have is absolutely beautiful there for that one there. But yeah, no, speaking on that point, man, would you like to elaborate what you mean by our infrastructure is not it cannot handle that? Everybody cruising, like right now, everybody is cruising in gas-powered vehicles, right? One of the biggest reasons why we have gridlock and traffic is due to human error. It's literally due to human error. If you go look up the accordion effect that happens on highways. All it takes is one dude just tapping his brake, and over the course of 20 minutes, you'll see how just that light tap can evolve into literal stop and go traffic, right? So it's like it's all human error. So majority of it's human error. So if we can kind of erase that in terms of infrastructure, like maybe chargers, right? So you'd have to replace maybe you don't replace the gas station, but maybe you make it mandatory to add a few electric chargers and slowly kind of roll it in. Obviously, it's not going to happen overnight, but I don't think that the infrastructure cannot handle. It definitely can handle. We might need to make some improvements, add some things along the way. But again, there are a lot of EVs on the road. as well, right? So it's like I think the infrastructure is more than capable of handling full self drives. If the only infrastructure that I can think of is charging infrastructure, if that's what you mean. Yeah, we might need to up our game on charging infrastructure, but at the end of the day, there's so many chargers that are going unused. Like I drive by the mall by my house, there's a huge row of Tesla chargers. Maybe only half of that's ever packed.
Ever, yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
So it's like,
true.
maybe you can make the system a little bit more effective and efficient as well, but I do not think it is, it's not within range of the capabilities of our current infrastructure. And I think it would do a lot more than good, but is Uber going to be the trade for that idea? I have no idea.
Maybe.
But that technology will definitely be revolutionary.
I think so too.
Good conversation.
Yeah, great stuff. And again, it's not that we disagree with what you're saying. We're just curious as to why you believe so. And it sounds like you're from Ontario. So yeah, really interesting stuff. And we just like to kind of build on those things. So Jag says it's driving at the same speed and giving enough room from the vehicle in front of you. That's why. That's the way the gridlock can be solved. And that's what I mentioned earlier, right? If everybody's cruising at the same speed, obviously you get the exception of I guess what the Americans would call it turnpikes, I think is what you guys are, or an exit where you get off where you get the red lights, et cetera, and then that could cost them as well. But as for just going north, south, east, and west on straight highways, I think if everybody's cruising at the same speed, it can eliminate that. Because it's the most frustrating thing, right? You're sitting on the 401 OB, and I try to avoid the 401 as much as possible, and you come... It failed to the 401, right? Yeah, big time failed to the 401. Okay, I'm hearing Adara in my ear. We're going to talk a little bit more gridlock. Let's see what she's got with breaking news.
Novo Nordisk here announcing via a spokesperson that it has submitted its obesity pill for FDA approval. NVO popping to the upside. This one has actually been bouncing quite nicely all day, but basically the FDA reportedly has Novo Nordisk submitted obesity pill here, waiting approval, and that NVO pushing higher at this point now above yesterday's high and pre-market high, guys. Back to you.
That is an absolutely wild chart there, Dara. Thank you for bringing us that
mine
news.
Look different than yours?
So, the daily?
Yeah.
Do yours look different? Yeah, I just got to be higher time frame. So because we were already looking at a 3-month chart, I pulled up Novo on a 3-month chart. What a beautiful break of trend and reversion back through the 120. Sure, you're risking 26 points to the high, but oh boy, that trade coming in real hot as we crack through the 100 all the way back down 59.20s. Was this the Ozempic run? Because it's looking like it's shedding a little bit of weight there on the way down, back down to 59s. That's absolutely beautiful there. More than a 50% retracement off of this acceleration that we got on Novo Nordisk from 2021. Oh boy, and look at that. Is that 1920? Yeah, exactly. So some of these health tickers catching a bid off of maybe COVID as well. And look at that continuation that we got into. What month was that? This is a 3-month chart, don't forget. So it kind of maybe roughly captures about a quarter of the year's price action there. Monday, the month of April. So April was when we made those 146 highs on Novo Nordisk, all the way back down to 58s. Oh boy, what a trade. Has anyone been riding puts on Novo Nordisk? That's my question. I want to know where and when you potentially got in and why you had that idea to begin with. But the chart is looking absolutely beautiful there on Novo Nordisk. But maybe a little bit of a shake and bake on some intraday news right now.
Shake it and bake. Yeah, I mean, I like that look there as well too, Obi. So great for pointing that out. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a pop here. I'm like, why does my chart look so different? But then once you zoom out and make that time frame a little bit larger, you can see kind of what was going on here with NVO there, guys. We'll zoom in and see what we got going on from a 5-minute standpoint as well, too. Nice pop, guys. And this is what we refer to, right, is just follow the volume, wait for those pullbacks. You can see that on the 5-minute time frame. We're starting to get that here, right? So big volume spike here. Now we're starting to pull back here on lower volume. Look for that continuation possibly in that strength, and that's what we want to do. So really good look there and great reporting as always there, Adara. And Obi, like low-key killing the puns here. I told you that would be a tough battle between Adara and Obi in the pun game. But 1320 Wolf asked me a great question. He said, and we'll do it. We talk about it quite often there, 1320. Just the fact that, like, how can we correlate the VIX and options pricing, and what does it essentially mean? And it's actually fairly simplistic. So when we have an increase in volatility, that means we're going to have an increase in options premium. Now, why were we going to have that? Because essentially when you have an increase in volatility, that's going to give the underlying a higher percentage of finishing in the money, right? So if you have 130% IV, the at the money IV is at 130%. Well, where we're currently sitting at, that means the underlying has a 130% chance of going this way and 130% chance of from where we're currently sitting at. So for an example, a $100 stock can go to 260, sorry if my math's off, and vice versa, or 230, whatever it may be. So that's what happens when you have an increase in volatility. But when the volatility starts to go down, it's the exact same. The premiums are going to start to go down. Why? Because the fluctuation of the asset isn't going to be as vast, and therefore the chances of it finishing in the money are slightly lower. So it's very simple. When you have heightened volatility, because of the fluctuation of the contracts, you're going to be paying more money because the chances are of it finishing in the money are vastly higher. So hopefully that's not too confusing. I just try to make it as simplistic as possible. But see, here we go, guys. On NVO, Obi, we're giving back all of that move. So volume exceeding that spike and then now moving to the downside. So the follow-up to the top side may not be there, especially because of this volume signature exceeding that breakout volume right there. So, but a good look and most definitely still in play. And Jag said, yeah, it's driving the same speed, giving enough room. We went over that. We were talking about certain things. But let's see what Adara's got going on for us.
Eli Lilly here. This is an antipathy play for Novo Nordisk. Though, of course, Novo Nordisk just gave up pretty much all of that upside move anyway. In case you missed it, seeing that apparently a spokesperson for Novo confirmed that the company has submitted its new obesity pill for FDA approval. LLY, Eli Lilly, we know they are very prevalent in the obesity space, and they actually had a nice gap up and pushed to the upside back on Thursday, after announcing some positive results for one of the trials of their oral GLP-1. So LLY at day's lows, now at 813 after opening here around 845. Back to you.
Adara, and yes, Revian Millionaire. That's exactly what it means. And that's when I say heightened volatility. It's an option seller's world, but this environment is slightly different because, and what Obi was referring to here in the VIX, if you were to be selling VIX calls at the high there, whatever we were trading at, we'll pull it up, you're going to be collecting max amount of premium, right? So that's going to help just cover whatever you want or allow your contracts to finish out the money, which essentially you want because the volatility is starting to decay time after time, and that's really important. It's also good, like even though underlying assets are depreciating right now, if you have the ability and if you had the ability to jump the gun early with this tariff news and you started selling covered calls against your positions, then you're going to also reduce what unrealized gains you may have of loss, or what from an unrealized losses can also start to compress as well too. So yeah, that's essentially what it is. And anytime there, Rivian Millionaire. What do you got going on there, Obi?
Nothing much, just watching this market bleed off even more here going into the late day session as of right now. UNH, oh boy, we talk about that. You know what, I have it written for me on a platter on the morning trade plan. I'm like, look for midday continuations on VWAP holds for continuation trades. UNH, continuation off the open, absolutely solid. One could argue that it's pushing maybe AA plus territory for continuations, right? Look at that continuation coming in to the middle of the day right here. 124 comes in. I actually did have eyes on this. I know you guys are seeing me watch this. I have it up. I'm like, all right, it's coming in here. And then I asked myself, do I really want to risk 1 point to VWAP to look for that continuation? And guess what? I probably should have, because that's exactly what I was looking for, and that's exactly what it gave me right here. Look at that clean test of VWAP on UNH. Sure, it's a little bit spready, right? It's got about a 10, 15 penny spread there. Shout out to Adara. And yeah, it's coming right back in. Continuation to the downside to 427.10 is the day low. And look at that, nice continuation selling as I speak right through that consolidation low. So another missed trade on my part, oh boy, kind of fighting with a little bit of this GLD as of right now. Kind of added a small part here just to see if the bid's kind of really coming in or not. I'm going to be punching out if this kind of continues right away. Like, it's got to show me that it's going to work right away. Otherwise, it's fine. As the market comes right back into the 17,700 here on the NASDAQ, and the ES already broke back below, making some fresh lows here below 51.40 now on the ES. So going to stay patient. Where's the next trade? That's what I'm asking myself. UNH was definitely a great one to keep an eye on. I did not execute on that one. That's okay. That's going into the missed or best opportunities list in today's daily journal. So I'm going to be cutting that one up a little bit there as it fades off to the downside here. But let me know, what did you guys trade during this midday session? Let us know in the chat. A lot of tickers to the short side would have worked extremely well. Not every one of them, though, as you can see. Things like gold, things like Nike, going a little bit sideways. The whole market's tanking, and Nike caught a bit of a reversion at about 1150 from 53.60s all the way back up. Over a 50% reversion from the open here on Nike. So absolutely crazy action here. There goes the bid coming right back up in GLD. So you know what? I'm going to be done with that one. Like I said, I got to see it happen right away. Otherwise, I'm not really going to get involved unless and until something else shows up. Again, sellers kind of coming in underneath that 316. Let's see if we see more of the same. Market, though, sellers are coming in incrementally and stepping down, it would seem, as of right now. But UNH almost near the day low there. What are you guys talking about? VZ, okay, traded SPY puts saying NYC Urbanista. Absolutely beautiful. Great trade there for that weekly continuation, that weekly breakdown. I was watching that on the Spider as well. Great trade for anybody who had that continuation short on any sort of market vehicle on the day today. So congratulations for those of you who took that trade. Imperial Music fan saying MLGO up 100%. Yeah, man, MLGO is definitely a runner, continuing to push up some more fresh highs here on the day. 1372. What was that prior high we were talking about? That was at 1359. So we're kind of breaking past that, continuing to the upside. Look how well it's held that VWAP as well. Beautiful trend to the upside, very, very clean to the upside here, making incremental higher highs and higher lows, continuing to push to the upside here. I'm not necessarily in any longs, but it seems like, again, shorts was the right place to be on a lot of these tickers, but not the only place to be.
Yeah.
Clear examples of things that are working out as beautiful longs as well.
Yeah.
You can always trade an inverse as well. You want to go long.
Trade an inverse as well, yeah. If you're more comfortable with going long, I do that sometimes too. So you'll see me in TSLS, right? Yeah. Or SQQ, right? Because for me, I don't know what it is. It's just it's a pattern recognition thing. OB, I just have more with my better setups is just going to the long side. That's so fair, SQQ and TSLS, you can use that there. Yeah. So let's see what we got going on here, guys. Let's go over our trades. We only got about 5 minutes left. We were a little bit patient coming back from vacation. You don't want to just jump right into things, especially with a little bit of lack of sleep and kind of jet lag too with the time, a little bit of a time change on that front. So you want to ease back into things. So and the due diligence aspect, it didn't get as much done as I would like, but that's okay. So you can see we had this nice trade here on NVDA. Got out right here, guys. Entered short, but previously we went for the short there, got squeezed out, and then we just got right back into the trade. We tried to grab the bottom here. I shouldn't say bottom, but we're waiting for that pullback here on IBIT. We took 2 attempts on it, didn't work out. That's okay. Looking for the continuation, small size on that front. And then what was our other trade here on the TQs, I think I took a stab at here, guys. So slightly red on the day, nothing crazy, nothing you can't get out of throughout the remainder of the week. And that's what we do. We're frank with this. I'm not expecting too much. Coming back from vacation and everything along those lines. Just getting those execution and those reps that Obi says, and then we'll turn things back around for the remaining of the week. There's no questioning that. So that is the game plan, and that is a promise that I am going to hold to you guys. So putting a big standard on myself there, Obi.
That's good, man.
Finishing that type of stuff. But again, I like how you always mention just a constant student of the game. I think that's what you are. And I think that's what some of the best traders most definitely are. They're consistently learning, and nor do they think they know everything. Because I think, as the saying goes, the more you know, the less essentially you know, right? So if that's how it goes, I probably might, there we go. So there you go. So I probably butchered that one, but
we know the known knowns, but what we don't know are the unknown knowns.
yeah, is the unknown exactly. So there you go. So,
I forget who that was. That's.
I have no idea.
No, I gotta show you the clip. It was some dude from the government.
A little off. Real eyes, realize, real lies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
there you go. Beautiful. Good stuff there, Dara. A little off topic there, but I heard that this movie called The Sinners with Michael B. Jordan, my guy, I heard it was really, really good. So yeah, maybe we check that out one day over the weekend or something like that. And yeah, TX Trader, Texas Trader. Are you Texas Trader? I was just in Texas. I ate at Terry Black's, if you're familiar on that one. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Obi had an absolute banger on GLD. We got about 3 minutes left if you want to kind of recap that one. So.
Yeah, no worries. So I think who was it? Piper in the chat. I think it was Rumsfeld in 2002 who kind of said that. It became a little viral. It was funny. They're talking about there are unknown unknowns is what he said, which is very valid, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely.
It's like you know how much you don't know. And that's a big thing.
Right? That's what I'm saying. The more you know, eventually you know you actually know nothing in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, there we go. And thank you, beloved Danny, and everybody else in the chat who's been giving Obi and love throughout the whole session. Again, he put on an absolute great trade there on GLD. And one thing I want to touch on, Obi, we'll pull up Obi's chart here one more time. Just look how long he was essentially sitting. I said this before. Look how long he was sitting in this trade before you even took anything off the top, waiting for those targets. So that's a fantastic skill.
The thing is, like, I tried it multiple times, right? I don't know if it's a fantastic skill, but I think it could have been, the trade could have been done in an hour right here. Could have been done in roughly an hour, and I definitely held it a couple hours more than I really should have. But again, I was like, it's working. It's kind of showing me what I'm looking for finally. So I'm gonna hold on to this one until it shows me more of what I don't want to see. Which again, you can't really tell if this is more of what you don't want to see until this kind of comes in. But again, it happened to work out. Like I said, was it the best trade on the day? I don't know. I don't really. Not in my playbook. Like I said, that UNH was definitely top for me, but I did not participate in that. Got a little anchored on the gold short there as it came in. Again, I like the action off of the open, and I might have gotten anchored as soon as I took a trade. It went instantly $1 in the money, and I kind of was like, all right, well, is this going to go? It comes right back up, and that's a bit of an issue here, where it's like, all right, it goes, it shows you exactly what you're looking for on a time frame that you're not looking for. Like, I was looking for this move to happen over maybe 5 to 10 minutes. It happens within 3 minutes, right? And then I find myself holding on to a trade, getting anchored to an idea when I get action that doesn't confluence with the time frame that I was looking for that action on. If that makes sense, right? So like, this can be definitely done a little bit better. Got lucky catching that piece when that did come in, when sellers did come in on the 316. But again, just a little bit lucky, man. Just trying to make better decisions, and it happened to work out. So nothing too crazy, I think.
Yeah, great stuff there, guys. It is now 2 o'clock. Thank you all very much for joining us. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe last time. But yeah, fantastic Monday. The market movement was definitely there. You can see the distinctive trend to the downside. So a really good Monday. Katina Man absolutely hit NVDA out the park. The Leafs won last night, a big W, 6-2. Let's see what the big boys are up to.
Yeah.
Yo, the Leafs absolutely knocked it out of the park.
It's more about the Leafs.
They played. That was a good start, man.